Excuse me. Mm. Burke, hello. Yeah, I got cold today. I have got a cold. The Les has got a cold. Fuck. And I don't see how. It's been hot. Brandy McNaughta, hello. Oh. Cold here this morning, rained like hell for an hour. No. I don't think it rained today though. It's, it's been hot. Okay. We are going to go back to Bam Bam.
Morning, chat room.
Welcome to the booth.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LEZ'S Lounge in the booth.
Yes, here we go. We're actually going to extend that by another 10, 15 seconds.
Love it.
Me too.
Absolutely love it, Les.
Rachel Grinnell, hello. Greg Huffman, hello. Zorg, hello. Vintage Gal, hello. Horsehair Gal, hello. What you been up to today, Bam? Oh,
Sorry.
I guess I could show my face. I gotta get my hat and tie on.
Yeah, you go and get your professional outfit on while I've got
Oh, it's right there.
professional dress on.
It's like right there. Chris, hello. Clark says, hi, Bam. Where you been?
Hi. I've just had a busy week. Usually when Les is streaming, it's about 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning here. So I have been asleep this week. I haven't been too well. So I'm sorry that I've missed yous, but I'm here tonight anyway, so I hope that you are going to enjoy this stream. I think
Yeah.
well.
Hey, Zoid Vixen, hello. Yeah, when we start getting into it, I'll play the intro into the murder mystery. Denise Lynn, hello. Todd B, hello. Well, you've been missed as well. Aw.
Hey, I've been missed.
Yes.
Oh, you guys are so nice. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Les pages to say that, didn't she?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I paid everybody $4.
I was supposed to be on a couple of times this week, but I fell asleep because someone here goes on a bit later than they say that they will.
Someone there goes on later?
Yeah, someone called Les. Do you know her?
No.
Yeah, she kind of alludes to the fact that she's going to be on around this time, but then 4 hours later, she goes on.
Well, she sounds like a bitch.
She is. You don't
I ain't
want
gonna say
to.
nothing, but I'd give her up like a hot potato.
I've tried to. She's bad news.
Oh, yeah. Pro Bubbles, hello. Sorry you haven't been feeling well, Bam.
Oh, thank you. Don't worry about it. I just get a bit sick with the medication I take. I take morphine, so it makes me a bit poorly. Les is used to it now, but
Yeah.
feeling better now, and I'm raring to go tonight. I'm hoping that you'll enjoy this. Yeah, enjoy it. It's going to be a good stream.
Crystal Hall, hello. Hi everyone. I'm watching from the TV. My elderly kitty is sleeping on my chest, so hard to type.
Very nice.
But you're looking good, Bam, as always. And yes, Clark, the check is in the mail.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you. I don't feel like I'm looking well, but I will accept that compliment graciously. So thank you.
You should. Because Lord knows I don't give them.
Yeah, you do. You phone me up and tell me I'm gorgeous all the time. That's all I hear.
Jeez. Yeah,
Glad
right.
you look lovely on camera.
No, please. I'm like, what the hell were you wearing on your head?
Is it? Well, I could put my horns on instead if you want. I've got.
No, I like the kitty ears. I'm just saying.
All right. So,
McFarlane. Well, I'm sorry, Bam. Didn't mean to cut you off, sweetie.
oh, it's all right. We just get used to you cutting me off, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody's not, this Les cuts me off all the time when I'm in the middle of explaining something. Les will read the chat, so get used to it.
I'm
look,
trying to watch that.
look at her trying to think of something to say. Did you see
No,
that?
I'm waiting for a moment to say Josh McFarlane, hello. Johnny B, hello. Kathy Rebuilds, hello. Janice Rofi, hello. Hello, Les and Bam. How are you today? Says Johnny B.
I am good. I am real good. Thank you. Do you want to cut me off now, Les?
I'm just gonna sit back and watch the show. I got a cold anyway.
Your chocolate should be there tomorrow.
I don't know.
I hope so.
Oh, I hope so.
I
You
just
missed.
never hear the friggin' end of it.
Oh, please. I actually forgot about it.
No, you didn't. You brought it up twice about your chocolate. You said someone was supposed
My
to send
God.
me something.
Please, I got chocolate now. I got chocolate chip ice cream.
You haven't got
And
that I'm sending you, so just shut up while you're ahead, or I'll cancel the post.
oh my
There,
God.
there's my friend. There's Hopey Dopey. Hopey Dopey, welcome. Hope knows a bit about this case that we're going to discuss tonight, Les. Um, Hope's actually quite an aficionada on missing cases. She's actually quite good on that. So, so for some of your murder mysteries, you pair want to put your heads together sometime because she's a mindful of information when it comes to these.
She don't never talk to me.
Hope, I insist you talk to Les. Les, I insist you talk to Hope.
Uh-oh.
Meet Les, Les meet Hope. Now you've been
I already
formally.
know. I already know Opie Dopey. I know her from Katie's chat.
Yeah, Hope's good people.
I don't know if she's ever been in this one.
I think she has. I think she's been in. She was the one that gave you the idea for the one that you want to go and investigate.
Rodin murders?
Is that it, Hope? I don't know.
Or Good night, sweet something. Sweet baby or baby sweet, I don't know. You missed Les and Hazel last night, ma'am. Les was naked in bed. Yes, I was.
That doesn't surprise me. She rings me up naked all the time. I'm sick of her. And she's on cam as well. And when she can't get me, she's ringing everybody that knows me, saying, "Can you get Bam to answer the phone so that she can see me in all my naked glory?" My neighbours come and knock on the door. Les is trying to get you naked on FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
She's even sent the police here with her naked image on the police's phone.
Oh my God. Krishna Freak Show, hello. Hello again, Brandy McNaughta. Vintage Gal, hello. Good Karma, hello. Let's see, who else was supposed to say hello to? Since Bam kind of, was rude and wouldn't let me say nothing. I don't talk to anyone, Miss Les. It's okay. Good Karma, hello. Welcome to the lounge. I'm Les. Oh, Crystal Rogers. Travis Carrington, hello. Hey, it's Janice Rofi, son. What's up? What's up, dude?
Oh, Trisha, I'm so sorry. Oh, God. I am so, so, so sorry.
Liz is so. Oh, I'm so sorry, Trisha.
I lost my two fat lads a couple of weeks ago. They were brothers. And I've never seen two little guys suffer like that. I mean, in 24 years of keeping them as pets, I've never seen that. And
Oh.
Les can attest to this. It actually put me into a depression. Hope will tell you too. I mean, it put me into a depression losing them. So I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. I want to do something real quick because we really need to make this intro a little longer. But hey, that's all right. Resign.
That's right, horsehair girl. That's exactly it. That's what mine are like to me. You know, they've got such short lifespans. But what I tell everyone time and time again is you're given another living creature an entire life full of love and happiness and safety. They're never going to be hungry. They're never going to be frightened. And they're going to feel love every single day of those lives. And that's why we keep doing it. Can you imagine going through this life, never, ever having to be frightened or be hurt? Always feeling the love that you want because, you know, to us, they're part of our world. But to them, we are their entire world. And that's why I do it over and over again. Every time I lose one, a little bit of me breaks. But I do it again and again because I'm doing it for them.
That's right. Now, on a happier note. That'll look better once we're through OBS.
And listen, Les, it looked fantastic. The trailer you did for the show earlier on was absolutely brilliant. Loved it.
Thank you. Jenny Hansen, hello. Proud Mama 2, hello. No, we're not doing Jessica Chambers.
No, we're not doing Jessica Chambers.
We are doing.
Can we just wait 1 second, Les? Uber Goober lady wants to come in, and I don't think she realizes that you're live, so I'm going to bleep her in Twitter just to let her know, yeah?
All right.
Yeah, just 1 second before you announce it. Because I know she was quite interested in what was going on. Okay. Okay.
Well, should I go ahead and just play the intro to the Murder Mystery Night?
It's up to you, sweetie. It's your panel. I just wanted to let her know that we're live because I know she's probably reading or something. You know, she hasn't realized that we've gone live, and I know that she's looking forward to this. She wants to be in the stream tonight. She wants to see it.
Oh, she went on panel? Does Hopi went on panel?
I don't know. Hope might come on panel because Hope knows a little bit about this case. I don't know whether Uber will. I think you know Uber Cooper a little bit better than I do, but I know that she's interested in this tonight.
Okay, you guys, here we go.
3.
Awesome. I love that shit. I'm not gonna lie. I love my own stuff. That's weird. Well, that's my intro. It's murder mystery.
Yeah, I like that.
I can't wait till the OBS thing is 100% ready and I'm very comfy with it, and you and I go on there, and that way I ain't got to go back and forth or nothing. I can just hit a key, and there you go. Julie Brown, hello.
Yeah, it's gonna look so good when she finally gets all this done, because we can have it like we're presenting from the same background.
Yeah.
So, effectively I can lift something like this, pretend it's a bit of paper, and pass it, and Les can lift a bit of paper and look like she's accepting it from me.
That's
So
good. That's
so
good.
good.
That intro should have done a psycho spoof with Liz in the shower. Yeah, I don't have my see-through shower curtain no more. Liz and Hazel naked in bed would be better. Okay, tonight's case. We are here for, ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today for a common purpose, and that is Murder Mystery Night. And tonight's... is that Peter behind glass? I'd like... So don't forget to be on live chat. And tonight's murder mystery, because that's what we are all gathered for. Are we all ready to figure out who it is tonight's murder mystery? But that's okay, because they had best friend in each other. Exactly. Me and my sister are 14 months apart. We're not exactly best friends. But anywho, on to number next. The reason we are all here. And it is on Anita Cobby. Anita Cobby. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of her, but I know Hopi has. Anybody from Australia has, or England, or anywhere the Queen is. Probably. I've never heard of her until a week ago. And this is one horrific case, folks. I am not going to lie. Sandra, hello. Now, we all know Jessica Chambers was horrific. I'm not taking anything away from Jessica Chambers whatsoever, because that was a horrific one.
We've just started.
Uber Goober, hello. Did you want on panel, Uber? Sandra, I made it. Yeah, I usually give people a few to come on in. God, no, hun. Okay, I didn't know. So this one is about Sandra Cobby. It's an Australian case.
Anita Cobby, Les.
Oh, and Anita. You know what it was? I was looking at Sandra's name. So, I'm fighting a cold here. I need to learn about this. So excited. I was going to do Jessica. Whoa! You know what? That's it. I'm getting a wireless mouse for this computer. Anita, Anita Cobby, Cobby. Now, I was going to do Jessica, and somebody else did Jessica, so I thought, well, I found this one out, and I said, this one's just as tragic. If not more so. The whole country was against these 5 guys, which understandably so. And there's a part in here that really I cannot eat when I read over it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it, and anything I miss, Bam's going to clean it up. Okay. Pamela Bozeman, hello. Oh, wait. I can't do nothing. I forgot. There we go. Alright, gotta put mine. Wait. I didn't get ready in time. Oops. Alright. And like I said, what I don't know, Am's gonna go over. Right now, I gotta get my tie on. So. And yeah, I know how to tie a tie. I was taught years ago when I was in high school. And then it helps when you have two boys. So, yeah. Cindy Lopez, hello. Y'all, don't forget to be on live chat. Put on Sherlock Holmes outfit. That's all right. Clark is getting in the Clark Kent suit. Is there less crime over there? I don't think so.
Where in Australia?
Yeah.
No. Crime. It basically evens itself out due to the size of the place, but because it started off as colonial British, don't get as much information. Well, the world doesn't get as much information on the crimes that go on in Australia, but believe me, they are as horrific, and there are there's serial offenders, and it matches it kind of evens itself out due to size and scale of the place.
Yeah,
Now, I'll just begin this Anita Cobby thing by my auntie had a PhD, and she was an avid devourer of true crime magazines and true detective magazines, and she often would write some articles and respond to stories and letters. And I used to spend an awful lot of time. She lived next door to my gran, so I would have been in her house a lot, and this was where I seen the True Crime magazine. I would have been about 12, about 12 or 13. And that was where I very first came across the case. I'm going to pass over to you in a second, Les, of the Anita Cobby murder. The story was printed in complete graphic detail, and there was photographs attached of the body. But now I'm going to pass it on to Les, and Les is going to carry on where I've left off. So over to you.
You could have went on. I'm just saying.
Well, the only thing that I will say is there's no photographs anywhere of the crime scene anymore. At one time you could have got them, but when the internet became a thing, Anita's parents, Grace and I can't remember his name. It'll come to me in a minute, but I know Anita's parents campaigned for the pictures to be removed from the public because they were so horrific, and a lot of crime details to be removed for general public reading. So the true crime magazines, although you could go back and buy them backdated, the ones that featured the Cobby murder, they've all been discontinued. You can't get your hands on those. They're something of a collector's item now. So you won't find any crime scene images or graphic details of the crime or the autopsy reports anymore. However, Les and I have got them. So we're going to give you as much information on this case tonight as we can. It's not for shock value. It's people will go away tonight remembering Anita.
No, the autopsy is not public. That's how horrendous this thing is. It was that autopsy report that caused Australia, all of Australia, to rebel.
That's right.
So let's go over it and you'll find out why. Okay. This happened. All right, Tuesday, February 4th, 1986. Anita Cobby was reported missing. Anita Cobby, Cobby. Hope he said exclusive. It was horrible. Yes. Yes. 2 days later, she was found in a cow pasture. The crime so brutal. The only pictures that there were have all been removed. The victim is Anita Cobby, who was married to John Cobby. But they were estranged. They were both RNs, and they were married, and they were estranged after the miscarriage of their daughter. She was 26 years old, and she was an RN, and as well as her husband.
She was as well.
Huh?
She'd been offered a lucrative modeling contract and turned it down to go into nursing.
Yeah, you didn't let me get to that point.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that you got that.
Yeah, she was a beauty queen, and John was extremely handsome, and she had been offered a modeling contract. She turned out to follow in her mother's footsteps to be a nurse, because she likes to help people. Texas Farmhouse, hello. She had went out to dinner with a couple of friends of hers from work. Then one of them dropped her off to catch the train to her parents' house. Once arriving at Blacktown Railway Station, she was supposed to call her dad to pick her up. Leave Van alone, Les. I haven't said a word to her. I didn't say a word. She was supposed to call her dad to pick her up, but as they like to call them there, the phone boxes were vandalized. So she tried to catch a cab, and they have a cab place right there, I guess, at the train station, but there was no cars there. They were all gone and in use. So she decided to walk. Maya Farmer, hello. Beautiful Dame, hello. Now the predators was 19-year-old John Travers, 19-year-old Michael Murdoch. This is pretty much full information. This is all the information I'm going to give them. Well, 22-year-old Leslie Murphy, 28-year-old Gary Murphy, and 33-year-old Michael Murphy. They had stolen a car and were out and about cruising. They were into like no good deeds, nothing major, you know. They had already been on a small crime spree that involved minor situations, and they were very poor, and they weren't the brightest box in the crown, brightest crown of the box, you know. My boo needs to get here and protect me, says Hazel. Pamela, that's what I was thinking too, Hoopy. I'm listening intently. Now, this is when the predators came across Anita. As Anita started walking home, the five came up to her, and they kidnapped her. They threw her in the car. They had stolen the car, by the way. Immediately, they started stripping her naked. And at this time, of course, you know, when they were throwing her in the car, she was screaming and yelling. And it just so happened a 17-year-old boy heard the screaming and yelling. He goes running outside. He sees just as she's gotten in the car. And the car is starting down the road. And he catches a glimpse at one of the guys. Don't say anything, Bam. We're going to get to the name. So he sees one of the guys. The guys turn around and look right at him. So they're driving down the road. So he goes running inside, and he gets a friend of his. And they take off looking for the car. And then they're out looking. Now, while they're out looking, I don't even think I need my notes. And if I miss something, bam, let me know.
Yeah, sure.
So while those two are out looking for this car, these 5 guys, as soon as they got her naked, were defiling her. They were making her perform fellatio on them. That's the nicest way I can say it. And while she's doing fellatio on one, the other one's getting her anally.
And tell them what was happening to her at that time.
I am. I can only say one thing at a time. So they were getting her anally, and then they were getting her vaginally, and she was begging them to stop, begging them not to do it because she was menstruating at the time. And so, ew. So they're getting her anally, getting her vaginally when she's menstruating, she's performing fellatios, and they didn't stop. This wasn't a one-time thing. This shit went on for hours. So then they started beating her. She was in the back seat, and they were just beating the shit out of this lady for no reason, just pummeling her. And then the whole time, she's forced to give fellatios, and they were backside and vaginal, and so they were running out of gas. So they decided to pull over. And meanwhile, this 17-year-old boy and his friend are out looking for him. They're still out looking for him. So they pull over, get gas, and buy gas with her money. Her money. She's still in the back seat getting raped. Getting raped. And this goes on. Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. So she's got to be in pain. And she had just had a miscarriage. All this. The woman's being tortured. They are pummeling her all up and down her body. Mama drama, hello. So they continued to drive around, and then they found a pasture, or as they call it, a paddock. It was a cow paddock. This is the 80s. Two guys, not that it makes any difference. Yeah, I read in the date. It was in 1986. So they came across this cow pasture. They pull her out of the car, and this cow pasture is surrounded by barbed wire. So they got across fine. Apparently, they didn't give a shit about her because they dragged her over the barbed wires to get into this cow pasture. They take her into this cow pasture. So while they're driving, I'm sorry, Les, didn't hear. That's okay, hon. I'm glad you're here because whatever I'm missing, y'all can get. So they go out into this pasture. Meanwhile, the 2 boys find the car, but they're not sure if it's the right car because there's nobody in it and there's nothing to distinguish it from another one. So they went back, and the 17-year-old called the police.
Les, can I just butt in 1 second?
Yeah.
The car, you're absolutely right. They did spot the car. They had a large, giant torch, and they started to shine it in the paddock. And it was Murdoch pushed Anita's face into the ground, and they all lay on the ground while the guys were shining this. This was like a police torch.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew that they were inches from being caught, but they pushed her head down while that light was on them, and then they got into the car and drove back and called the police.
Oh, so that's how that happened. Okay. Mm-hmm. It didn't say in the article, but
yeah,
it didn't say that's. But I'm glad you guys know that. So when they take off, of course, their time is limited. All right. So they were kicking the shit out of this woman. They beat her so bad, one of her teeth was in her lung. That's how bad they beat her, kicked her. They totally destroyed her face. Totally destroyed her face. Her body wasn't exactly in the greatest condition, and there was lacerations from the barbed wire. So they're all done. Okay, after hours, folks, hours of this. So John Travers, the 19-year-old, oh, it gets better. John Travers, the 19-year-old, says she knows who we are. She has seen all of our faces. I doubt the woman would remember shit after all that she took. You know, her body took a beating from hell. A tooth was in her lung. So the other ones were like, what do you want to do? He said, we got to kill her. And the other ones are like, I don't think so. Oh, no, rape, beat, and everything else, you know, all this dirty, nasty shit. No, not killing. Killing would have been a welcome for me if that was me. You know what I mean? So he took a knife, this John Travers took a knife and sliced her neck so bad. The only thing keeping her head on was the skin and the back of her neck. That's the only thing keeping her head on. But this is the part. But he was not done, folks. Scotty Saren, hello. He was not done. No one else can get it up by this point, right? John could. Because he decided that wound, that slicing of the neck to where only the skin is keeping her head on, looked so nice, he fucked it.
That's absolutely correct. There was semen found in the wound and on the outside of her throat in the blood that was bubbling out. So he'd raped the hole in her throat, the hole in her windpipe here.
So after that, they left. They left. So they found this lady's body 2 days later. And the cows that were in that field were protecting her.
This is the bit that makes the goosebumps stand up on me.
Those cows were protecting her. And all they wanted to do was help her. So they finally were able, and it was actually the farmer. He was driving down on just checking everything out, and he noticed his cows were acting funny. And Lilac Llama, hello. And so he went over to find out what it was, and here it was her. So he went and called the police, and now they called the police, and they had her wedding ring. So the father went down and said, yeah, that's her ring. And then he had to go identify that.
Gary Lynch. That's his
name. Gary Lynch.
That's it.
And So they called her husband, and who he came, and he knew when he walked in that she was dead, and that they thought he did it. Now, John, her husband, was extremely handsome, and he's still handsome to this day. It's been actually 32 years this year. Um, Nicole A, hello. Trisha, yeah, the boys looking at her must have felt terrible. They called the police, but the times didn't match up. Well, we're going to get to that. So they hauled John down to the police station. And he, after being at the police, of course, the guy who was in charge of all that and interrogated him doesn't remember a thing. He's like, I don't recall him being up against the wall. I don't recall him being on the floor. You'll have to ask him. You'll have to ask him. John remembers it well. Yeah, they asked what was on the ring, and they said it wasn't this dirty, and they said, man, that's blood. So he had to go down and identify her. So meanwhile, they've got John, and they got John admitted something he didn't do. He loved the hell out of her. He loves her to this day. He loves her to this day, folks. To this very day. And so he was the suspect. They've had him thinking he did it. Well, in the meantime, they were doing their investigation, and I think the total investigation took 3 weeks. That's how. And what they did is they had a police officer dress up as her and ride the train. Well, come to find out, they had her on the train earlier than what the police saw. They thought she was on the train much later, and they said no, it was about 9 o'clock. Well, that changed everything. They went through the phone records and they contacted that 17-year-old boy. 17-year-old boy told him, said, this is what I saw. And I saw one of the guys. And he saw, wasn't there a tattoo under his eye or something?
He had a teardrop tattooed.
Yeah. He had a teardrop tattoo under his eye. Well, because these boys have been in a lot of minor trouble, they knew who they were looking for. So they go and pick up Travis. Well, they get Travis in there, and they're not letting him go. And his aunt, his uncle's wife, came to visit him. And she was talking to him. And she came out scared to death. And she told the police, oh my God, he did it. He did it. Oh my God, he did it. He did it. Oh my God. And they asked her, would you go back and wear a wire? It's not like today's wire. They have the actual cassette tapes on your back and then the wire through thing. Well, she did. She got up the courage. I don't know how she did it. She went in there, and you can hear the tapes today, where she went in and talked to him, and he told her everything. Told her everything.
Tell them what he asked her for. What he asked her to go and check was still there. As best what?
I forget.
The only thing that the dirty piece of shit was interested in was finding his best knife.
Oh, yeah, his knife. Yep.
Now, the reason why this is important is it was a serrated edged knife. And it was one of the survival knives. If you ever go to survival shops, where you can put matches and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The wounds on Anita's neck, he had gone whoosh, whoosh, and he had serrated. There was serrated cuts, and that's what he was looking for. He actually wanted his smokes, as he called them.
Yep.
As best knife.
Right.
Fuck it. fuck it, man. That was me best knife. That was what he said.
Yep. So she went in there and got everything, all the names, everything. Everything. And they got it all on tape. So they went around making the arrests. Gary Murphy, I think he's the 28-year-old pussy. He started running out the back door. The other guy just said, "Oh, I'm caught." He's in the living room. I think it was Leslie. Yeah, brave woman. They ended up getting all 5 of them. Now, this woman, of course, left the uncle and is so scared to this day. She is still in witness protection, scared to death that they might come out one day. She is scared to this day. And Vicky, hello.
Nice one, Vicky. Thank you.
And that woman was brave as shit to go back in. She did not want to.
She collapsed when she came out. They had to carry her up.
Yeah.
Actually passed out.
Yes.
I mean, think about this. We're repeating this story, but if you think about what Anita went through at the hands of 5 men in those hours, and as Les said, they pulled her through barbed wire fence. Parts of her scalp was found in the barbed wire. And because they couldn't get it up anymore after she had been raped constantly for over 2 hours, they kicked her. They broke. Well, Les, no doubt you've got the injury list there, don't you?
Yeah. So what turned the country into a major uproar was that there was a radio DJ. His name was John Laws. He was like the most popular one in Australia. And he's like, he got a hold of the autopsy report. And he said, people have got to know about this. So he read it on air. And the neck thing kind of really did it in. The country went ballistic. They were transporting these 5 boys. And they were hanging nooses and everything. You know, they were asking for the death penalty to be reinstated.
They got one of the cars on the way in.
Yeah.
To the Holton. And you know, the police officers in the car were frightened because if the people had got those doors open, everyone in those cars was dead. Everyone. Yeah,
they were banging on and everything. It was just pandemonium after that DJ read the autopsy report out loud on the air. Now, who I feel sorry for, other than the family of the victim, is, believe it or not, I actually felt sorry for John Travers' mom. She was beside herself. She couldn't. She said, all I can do is apologize. Nothing's going to be enough. You know, she didn't know her son. She doesn't know how her son became so evil. You know, she didn't know her son was capable of something like that. You know. And I feel sorry for the defense attorneys because they were forced into that. They were forced into that by the state. So they had to defend those guys, and they were not popular. Let's just put it that way. And, well, anyway, needless to say that they were transferring them, and they got a camera on the guys. And I think all but one was caught smiling when they came out. They were smiling. So that didn't set right with people. And needless to say, they all got life in prison. And not only because there's no death penalty, they got life in prison But it is stipulated in the papers that they are never, ever, ever, never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever, never, 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 ever to be released. And so they are still in prison today. John, I guess they all had the shit beat out of them at one point or another. They were all. I know one has cancer, and then Bam told me that the one, John Travers, unless you want to tell the story of what happened to John Travers on the way to the hospital one day. She may have went somewhere. Now, one of the defense attorneys said, why are there cuts all over my client's face? And the officer, he said, well, I think they might have gotten there when I stepped on his head to put the handcuffs on him. He stepped on his head. They got tortured, even in holding. They were tortured. And so, but apparently, John Travers, he had gotten beaten up in prison. And so the ambulance, the paramedic guys came, take him to the hospital. Hi, my name is pronounced Renee. Hello, Renee. Hello. Welcome to the LEZ'S Lounge. And so apparently he got a hold of a hacksaw or something.
Yeah, it was a hacksaw.
It's a hacksaw,
Yeah.
and he threatened first of all, this was had to have been a setup. Really, come on, because they're patted down. We got a hold of a hacksaw, and so you have two cops. You got two ambulance people and him. So he got a hold of a hacksaw, and he threatened them. Well, of course, the police stunned him and beat the shit out of him and took him to the police station.
Yeah.
Where was there a trial? Oh yeah, there was a trial.
Yeah, it was the biggest trial ever in Australia.
Yeah, it was a big yeah. Yeah. Now, do you want to tell the part about Anita's dad and John Travers at the police station?
Yeah. It's where LEZ'S left off.
I was want to see if you wanted to tell it.
Yeah, Gary Lynch, Anita's dad, he'd had a premonition that something was going to happen. He was a very spiritual man, and he'd went out the night that she was supposed to come home. He'd went outside, and he kept going out looking for her, and he saw this shadow go across the moon, and to him, it looked like the face of pure evil. It was actually Travers' face that he could see. And then the next day, they realised Anita's bed hadn't been slept in. And of course, all this conspired. Now, Gary and Grace didn't know about Anita's injuries until it was read out on the radio. So, as you can imagine, this man nearly lost his mind. And the only thing that he could think of doing was trying to be involved in some form of rehabilitation for offenders before they got to the point where they did this kind of crime. So this day that Travers has been beaten up and tries to escape, they had to pull into the nearest police station, which just happened to be the police station that Gary Lynch went to mentor in. And Gary was on duty. Now, it doesn't go by protocol, this is prisoner such and such, and he's done this, he's done that, he's done that. It was just Gary Lynch was there to mentor to anyone. Well, of course, Travers was in the holding cell, and Gary seen him there, and he stopped and decided to mentor to this bloke that had been brought in, and had a cup of tea with him and let him have a cigarette, and talked about trying to rehabilitate his life, when he didn't realize until after he'd actually been talking to John Travers, Anita's killer. So that's a double.
I couldn't imagine.
No, I couldn't. And there's no way I would find the faith to go and start mentoring either. I would just be a basket case after something like that. I wouldn't get over that.
I could imagine. Now, they're still alive. The one has cancer. The oldest one has cancer. He was 33 at the time.
Yeah.
It's only been 32 years. So, you know what? You say the youngest one is probably what, 52 years old now?
If that, yeah.
Well, yeah, 32 years. He was 19. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, but from what Bam tells me, is that they keep rotating their prisons
Yeah.
because of this. Because of this. I just couldn't imagine for 32 years being transferred every 6 months or something. I want to know what prison they are. We don't know.
They keep getting rotated for their own safety.
Yep.
Now, Michael Murdoch was part of a pedophile attempt escape.
Is it Michael Murdoch or Michael Murphy?
Murdoch. It was Murdoch.
Okay, because
he's the oldest one, isn't he? Murdoch's the oldest.
Michael Murphy is the oldest one.
No, it's the one that's not the brother. It's Murdoch.
Yes, Murdoch. Then.
Yeah. And there was a gang of 3 or 4 pedophiles that were going to break out of prison. This prison's closed down now. They actually closed it down because of this attempted break. And Murdoch had rang his mother and said to her, make sure you got the kettle on and, you know, I'll see you on Tuesday. And she says, what are you talking about? And he said, oh, I'll be home on Tuesday. So she rang the police and told the police what he'd said. They stormed the prison. And this, I don't know the whole ins and outs of it, but this was a professional gang that was going to break out a couple of these registered pedophile sex offenders. And Murdoch had dug a hole. He had dug a hole in his cell. Now, as I say, they're rotated. So whatever length of time that he'd been there, he'd managed to get his hands on tools to dig a hole. And his own mother turned him in. That's how much hatred there is towards these people. You know, so tell them about Travers, Mum Les.
Travers' mom. The poor woman. There was 6 kids, right? Wasn't there 6 kids in his family?
Yes.
And
7, the eldest, wasn't he? He was the eldest of 7.
I thought there were 6. Maybe there were 7. I don't know. I thought there were 6. But anywho, Alan D, hello. St. DM of her killers returning back to the scene of the crime with the police. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to tie up loose ends. But Travers' mom was totally beside herself.
It killed the woman because she died.
Yeah, she ended up dying. Her husband left her.
I think she died 6 months after he went down. It was short, wasn't it?
6 months later. It's pretty sad when your own mother will sit there and turn your ass in before you even broke out of jail. As of September 2018, Michael Murphy was in palliative care. Yeah, he's got cancer. He's dying. But that's still an easier death. Dead serious. I would not know how to cope if one of my family members did something so horrible. I'd change my name and get the fuck out of Dodge.
Tell them what else about their. Well, I don't know.
Well, I am. I know you're going to say something about John, right?
No. The whole time that they've been incarcerated, they have never released any of their pictures.
No, they haven't.
No one knows what they look like because it still has the the shock value and the anger to turn people like us. You know, if they were to knock my door now, I'd go out there with a hatchet, whatever I could, the most painful method of execution, and I wouldn't think twice about it. And they
Yeah.
won't any pictures of them so that people can't go into prison and get them.
Yeah. I and then of course, you know, John Cobby, who he was both of them were they were a beautiful couple. I mean, she was beautiful. He's handsome as hell. He's still, God, he looks the same today. I mean, he's handsome as can be. Well, anyway, he misses his wife to this day, and he changed his last name, and it was John Francis. He did get remarried briefly. He had 2 kids.
There's John.
And that's how he looked back then. And he moved away. And then he came back. They're a beautiful couple. Really smart. They both had a life. Yes, thank you, Bam. And
You just keep talking and I'll try and share what pictures.
yeah, but they won't be able to see. Wait, let me present you. That way they can. These are the fucking assholes. The one on the far right. Hold on a second. Go to the far right. The one on the far right is Michael Murdoch. The one next to him is Gary Murphy. The one next to him is John, I believe. And the one next to him, the doofy looking one, is the oldest, Michael Murphy. And the one on the very end is Leslie Murphy. That's what they looked like then. But anywho, so John, when he went back to Australia, I wish she'd tell me if she's going to do this. There's John. There they are.
There's
Oh, they're going. That's John right there.
there we go.
Doofy
Right.
looking. Yeah, they're in Australia, Jenny. And so John Francis moved back to Australia and got with his sister. His son came back with him, and he changed his name back to Cobby after how many years? And his son was right by his side. Was right by his side. Did any show remorse or testify against the other? No, not one of them showed remorse. They were laughing when they were pulled out of holding to get transferred.
When
They were smiling.
When they read our injuries out, they were nudging each other and giggling in court.
Mm-hmm. They're laughing.
When Les gets her OBS and what's set up again, we can maybe do this again where Les can share some of the court proceedings when the family comes out of court, and you know, you can and you can listen to the police officers because they're still affected to this day by what they've seen.
Extremely.
She died with her eyes open.
Yeah, they found her with her eyes open. Yes, New South Wales is in Australia.
Yeah. Blacktown, it's called, isn't it? Wasn't it Blacktown, Les?
What?
Blacktown, isn't that what you call it? Blacktown, New South Wales?
Yeah, Blacktown Railway Center. Railway station. It's and that DJ.
Yep.
He's an older man now. He's an old man now, but to this day, he says, I don't need to see that again. You know, they were trying to show him, is this what you read? He said, I don't need to see it. I was there. I read it. I don't need to think about it anymore. You know, it still affects him to this day. This was a gruesome, gruesome crime.
The worst is raping her hole in her throat while she's hanging on to the last bits of life that she has, and he's still using her as a receptacle.
Mm. Well, they're not gonna. Yeah, look in her eyes ain't gonna burn no hole in their heart. There ain't no way in hell. The awful part is over. I can't believe I made it through that.
You did well.
Todd B says, Les, I can't take these stories. This was horrific even for me. That was literally making me ill.
Something. Where is he, Hope? Can you repeat that? That's where Michael Murdoch is as of 2016. Can you repeat that for me, Hope, please? See, even a photograph of them would be very valuable now for other. There's gangs in Australia that operate. There's biker gangs in Australia. And I'll give a little bit away of some of my family here. My cousin, he got done for murder when he was 16 in Australia. He fell into a gang and he killed a police officer. But although he was young, I nearly said his name there, although he was young, he's a dangerous lad. You know, he's still dangerous. But there's a price on their heads. If you can get them, you know, your family or you will never ever need to work again. They're so badly hated. Even the outlaw gangs over there that will cut your throat as quick as they'd look at you. They want them tortured to death.
I want them tortured to death.
Mm-hmm. A photograph of them could be passed on to someone who's willing to go in and do time to get them. That's how bad this case is. I remember this affected me. And this was what made me start to think about pursuing a career in science, because I couldn't understand how the brain could malfunction to that point where you would want to do these kind of things and how you would live with the aftermath of that. And that's what that really is. That's the one case that I can say affected me all my life.
Well, how could they have such disconnect to a fellow human being?
And one that's crying and whimpering and so much smaller than them and begging them, you know, please let me go. I promise I won't tell. Please just let me go. I have a little dog. She needs me. She's saying things like that to them and they're smashing her face in. Her whole face was black. They'd bruised every single part of her face, and you know, her eyes were swollen. Although she died with her eyes open, scientifically possible that she, you know, that the swelling was so great that the eyes weren't able to close. And she was really, really, really badly beaten. Tops of her fingers were cut off where she tried to put her hand over the knife.
Yep.
Her fingers were dislocated. Her ribs were broken. She had broken bones in her feet. The vaginal and anal injuries were, you know, she was black all down there, so badly bruised, and she was lacerated. Her boobs, her breasts were bruised and bitten. She even had bruising under her arms.
I said they beat her.
Well, they kicked her unconscious in the paddock, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, bait. Hello. Monsters? Yeah, they were monsters.
They urinated on her.
Oh yeah.
Their urine was on her. Their urine was in the cots. It's like pure hell.
It's savage.
Yeah.
I'll be back. People are leaving. The kids can't take no more of it. It's just. I need to go take some meds.
Okay. When the judge was sentencing them, he actually started to cry. His voice started to break. You know, he said in 30 years he'd never come across a crime as gruesome. So that's the Anita Cobby case. John Cobby, he came here. He actually came to East Midlands, and he works in psychiatric medicine. And when he changed his name back from, I can't remember what Les said, but when he changed it back to Cobby, his son, I think they got a tattoo and it said, tough times end, but tough people don't. But he's not been able to maintain a marriage or a relationship from Anita. But I'll tell you something very, very strange. John's son, who isn't Anita's son, it's from his marriage that crumbled. His son is the absolute double of Anita. It's freakish how alike this boy looks to Anita. You know, you would almost swear that was her child, but he's the double of her, and that gives me a lot of comfort. You know, to know that John has that, because he's a very very nice man. Um, I have a lady on my Facebook. I don't want to say her name. She's was quite famous in Australia. Well, she still is. She worked in the entertainment industry for years and years and years, and she was involved in the Cobby case. Um, you know, and she said that it shattered him. You know, he had to be carried out of the church, crying, "Please bring her back to me. You know, don't take her away from me." And he went on to become a heroin addict. Tried to commit suicide several times after a murder because he just can't get over it. And I suppose in circumstances like that, you wouldn't. You know, you would never be able to get over that. I know a couple of the police officers, they were interviewed for the 30th anniversary. And one of them, like, he's a big guy, big bear of a guy. He must be about 6'7". And he's big. And he said every night when he closes his eyes before he goes to sleep, he sees Anita's face. It never leaves him. So, yeah, that is one of the most, if not the worst case in Australia. And as I say, there's been 2 attempted breakouts. One of them is dying of cancer, which I hope is very slow and prolonged, and I do hope that they withhold morphine for him. And the rest of them are still rotated every 6 months because the danger of the other prisoners getting them is too great. John Travers' mother died of a broken heart after he went down. The others still have family members that come, you know, brothers and sisters, cousins, nieces and nephews that come to see them now, but none of them have ever shown remorse. One of them did write to Gary and Grace Lynch and asked, you know, if they would come to visit him, but it was too late. You know, Gary and Grace didn't want to go and meet him. There was no point, no matter what they said and what excuses they gave. You know, and he's still dead, and they still giggled and nudged each other in the courtroom. And they still had to hear those injuries. Any of you that are interested, there's a couple of documentaries about her on YouTube. I would advise against the older one. There was one made the 30th anniversary, and this is where John Cobby, it's called You Thought You Knew the Truth, Now You Know. That's probably the most informative one. But I'll tell you this, one of the girls that Anita had been out for dinner with, she'd said to Anita, do you want me to drive you home? And Anita said, no, I'll get a cab or whatever. And that night at 11 o'clock, this nurse was in bed because they both to get up early the next morning for their morning shifts, and that's how they realised Anita was missing. She hadn't turned in for work. And the nurse was dreaming about Anita and her. They were having a meal, and Anita said to her, well, I won't see you again, but take care. And she said, what do you mean I won't see you again? And Anita said, I'm dying. So the nurse shot up in bed, she said she was sweating, her heart was pounding, and she said it really bothered her, it really upset her. And she went around checking her windows and what. Well, of course, there was no mobile phones or anything then, so she couldn't text her and say, are you okay? And anyway, the time of death is put down at 11 o'clock. So she also had a premonition. Now, that's in the Crime Scene Australia documentary. She tells her story in there, and there's interviews with both Anita's parents. In the recent one, you get John and Anita's sister telling and the detectives telling their side of the story. So that one's very, very informative.
Phoebe Sweet, hello. Bam, did this crime really inspire your career choice?
Yes, it did. This was what made me, as I say, my auntie had she was a doctor of psychology anyway, and she was kind of, I was quite smart at school, and she was egging me on. She said it's something that you're going to be able to do quite easily because well, anyway, these kind of things were always on hand. There was always information like that on hand. But this true crime magazine showed pictures of Anita. Now she was found on her face. So there was there was one black and white picture of her, and and then there was one colored picture of her face, and it was turned sideways. Well, I remember being shocked to the core when was looking at these pictures, and it looked like triangles in her, but it was where the barbed wire pulled lumps out of her. And the autopsy report was actually printed in the True Crime magazine. And it's the same thing that bothers Les bothered me. I was thinking, how could you do this? How could you actually do that? But Travers is in no doubt a serial killer. He'd been torturing animals, doing the same thing to sheep. He'd been doing all of that. So this guy is, he's just death. That's just what he is. He's just prolonged, painful death. And I had never read anything as horrific as that. All the horror stories, all the true crimes, anything that my auntie had spoken about, there'd never been anything that was as horrific as this, and I could never forget the image and what he'd done to her neck. I just could not forget that. Yes, that was what I wanted to. I wanted to be armed in life. I wanted to be able to spot these kind of people, and in my head, I was going to be the one that would fight the cure. Yeah, I would be able to fix this. There's got to be medicine that can fix this. And this was what my young mind started to, that was the plan that started to formate definitely yes. That was the one case that inspired me and affected me still to this day. I still can see those images, and I can still remember when I were telling Les about the autopsy. She was like, you know, an intake of breath. She said, "Bam, are you serious?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm deadly serious, Les." I said, "I'm not fucking kidding. This is the worst thing ever." So yeah.
This is probably the most gruesome case I've ever read in my life. In my life. I think we've all read some shit, but this is. Riff Raff, hello. Okay, I'm sorry for that greeting. This is not the time or the place for that kind of shit.
What's up?
I just had to get with someone.
Told me about this case. I remember how much it affected you. But yeah, thanks, Hope. Yeah, because Hope and I have spoken about it. You know, because in time, Hope and I would like to do these, but maybe Les and Hope can do some of these missing cases together. But I remember telling Hope about this, and I said to her, you know, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not easily spooked, right? I'm as brave as a lion. Nothing scares me. But when I read that case, it was almost like I could place myself there. Maybe it's because I'm a woman as well. And I said to Hope, you know, it affected me. I was shaken when I read it. And another thing that resonates so much with me was something that her sister said. And she said that she has to take long, long, long showers to cleanse herself because of what Anita went through. And I remember it affected me so bad. I was taking longer showers because somehow I was trying to clean off what had happened to her. If that, you know, if that makes sense, I could just put myself in her place.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, any blokes that are in here, excuse me, I don't, you know, very rarely I'll reference this, but for a woman to be menstruating as well,
Oh, God.
you're very vulnerable at that point in time too. And you feel uncomfortable, you know, you've got cramps in your tummy, and the last thing you want is any you just need that area to be still. So that along with the humiliation of being raped, but that happening to you as well, and then them forcing her to orally pleasure them,
I know.
what she went through, I like I say, to this day it affects me. And you know, Hope can she'll verify that, because I've said to her a couple of times, you know, I have to stop talking about this because it's bothering me that much, and it still annoys me to this day. It still upsets me to this day. I know that our husband John has never read all the injuries, and he doesn't know the name of all of the killers. It's just he can't deal with it. And this is a highly qualified psychiatric nurse. So
Phoebe Sweet says this is testimonial that the evil these monsters perpetrated are not the end of the story. A good woman is now working to help others. In a way, it's like Anita got the last word through. And let's see. It was somebody I was supposed to say hi to.
Hello.
Red Freckles, hello. And yay, Hopi. And
Yeah, Hope's making fun of me. There's some things that I find too embarrassing to say, so I whisper them. And Hope feels that this is hilarious, considering that I've got a scientific brain. But I'll talk about the time of the month, and I'll do things like that. It's just because I'm old-fashioned Irish, and I never ever talk about intimacy. I never talk about anything like that either. She thinks it's hilarious when I say something like that.
Greg Huffman, welcome back.
Hi, you Greg.
Yeah, this is just
Yes, Uber. The fear, that's exactly it. The detective said the look of absolute misery on her face is what stays with him. I can send you the link to the documentary if you like. Um, but I will say, it will bother you. I can tell you that right now. It's going to bother you. It bothers everybody that watches it. Nobody walks away from watching this documentary going, oh, well, I think I'll go and paint the wall. You sit there stunned for about 5 minutes trying to take it in. Did that really happen? Did I really watch that? Or can this be real? And yes, it is. And it's a bit worse than actually what's being reported. Because as I say, the autopsy now, you can't get it unless you apply to New South Wales Blacktown coroner's office for a copy of it, and they won't give it to the public. You've got to have a specific reason for wanting it, and it's also, I think it's a gagged. There's a gag order on it now too.
Mary E. Hello.
By the
Flamingo Boggs, hello.
Sorry, Les. I don't practice. I'm not a practicing psychologist or psychotherapist or psychiatrist. I haven't been involved in the scientific field for 20 odd years. I've been involved with friends who've worked on cases, and there's one that I'm going to run by Les that we might cover on here. I don't know whether she'll want to do it or not. But no, on a professional capacity, I'm no longer qualified. So just in case I've misled anyone.
Connie Baldwin, hello. Um, yeah, I heard of the limousine in New York that crashed. Yeah, it is sad. It is sad. But gotta go. Great stream, Les. Bye, y'all. Horsehair, you have a good night. Thank you for coming. The name of it, so I can look it up. It is Anita Cobby. Anita Cobby. Cobby. Well, this is why I like doing these kind of things is to bring awareness to people. Let's remember the victims. Let's not remember the murderers.
Yeah.
You know.
Hope, can you do me a favor? Since you seem to have access there, can you look up Anita Cobby book? There's one that's been released in the last 2 years, and I'm quite sure that that gives as much accuracy as possible. If any of you people are interested, if you could find it, Hope, and just put it in the chat. So if anyone wants to buy the book and read on it, I think that there's a certain percentage of the money goes to the Anita Cobby Foundation. Uber, I'll send you two documentaries in Twitter, in your DMs in Twitter. Mary, you're going to have to watch this from the beginning. Yeah. I don't know if I can put a link through. No, if
No,
you just
yeah.
find the name of the author and the name of the book, hope, and just write it in yourself, please, so that if any of them want to buy or read the book. My quest on this story tonight hasn't been to shock you, but I want everyone to remember Anita's name and face. And if anyone does want to read on it, it will give me great comfort to know that you're interested enough to know that she matters. 30 years later, she still matters.
Their memory is being kept alive.
Screw the killers, absolutely. With a pitchfork.
I know some crimes from UK, only a couple from Australia crimes. This stuff happens all over the world. And, she might not, Bam may not want to shock you. I just want people to be aware.
Is there a documentary?
Yeah,
Yes.
just type in Anita Cobby.
Remembering Anita Cobby by Mark Moray. Thank you, Hope. If you want the documentary, it's called Anita Cobby 30 Years Later. That's the one. It's about an hour and 15 minutes long, and that's the one that I find it's the most informative. The first one's more about the actual crime, and I think they talk some about the injuries, but not all.
Yeah, if you just type in Anita Cobby, they all come up. They all come up. Is the documentary taken from the book? No.
No.
No. Someone Else's Daughter, The Life and Death of Anita Cobby by Julia Shepard. Yeah, like I said, I did want to shock you to the point where you will remember that name.
Yes.
You will remember that victim.
And John, her husband.
Oh, yeah.
Because his life's ruined. There it is. That's the other one. Okay, guys, get ready for if you want this. It's on Apple Books, which I think that's going to be a download. It's called The Anita Cobby Murder by Alan J. Whitaker. That's Whitticker. Alan J. Whitaker. The Anita Cobby Murder. This is the one that I think lists the autopsy report. You can't read this. Oh, hang on a minute. Read a free sample of the. You can read this book with Apple Books on your iPhone, iPad, iPod, or your Mac. So this is for Apple only. Now, there'll be a lot of redacted parts in the autopsy where they'll have black over them. But I think Les and I have more or less covered everything, about just how violent the injuries and the torture that she sustained. And the reason that they do the pull this is because there's such a public outcry. Even on her 30th anniversary, there was petitions for them to bring back the death penalty. People feel strongly about this, which I agree that there's 5 lives that are pointless. And I know that John Travers, his dad was a very violent alcoholic, and he used to beat the kids mercilessly when they were little. And when the mother, she was very slim and very pretty. And through the abuse from her husband, she started to get depressed and started to gain weight, which then went into heart disease and diabetes. So when she started to become disabled, he left her. And, if any of you have been at the mercy of the benefit system, 7 kids, and only benefits to rely on, of course, he wouldn't pay her any maintenance. They lived in abject poverty. And he was interviewed on Australian TV on a news network, a young offenders thing. And he said, he was like the Robin Hood of Australia. He robbed off the richies to give to the pooros. This is his vocabulary. And that was how he seen himself. And, he would have went into a sheep farmer and stole one of his sheep. But he would have raped it. And on the point of ejaculation, he would have cut the sheep's throat. And then he would barbecue it. And that was his signature, these slash wounds. And that's exactly what he did with her. So he was like a bad lad from he was little. He was always in trouble. And the more trouble he got into, the more dad beat him. So I can't really, there's some people that petition for him now saying, he was abused and that's what made him so violent and so aggressive. But no, I'm sorry, I'm not buying that.
Okay, Hopi. It sounds like a fantastic thing. Here, I'll show you a way. Here's my YouTube link for my YouTube Messenger. That's a good way to get a hold of me. You may have to put the URL into your browser and go there. Or do something. I forget how they put it. Nothing but internet games. Not back then.
Yeah, Hope's quite an aficionado on a lot of these missing cases and what. She's quite good at this. She would make a good panel guest for you someday to be doing one of your missing mysteries, Les.
Mm-hmm.
So if any of you guys,
I would say so.
sorry. Anybody got any questions in regards to the Cobby case? If I can answer them, I'll be happy to. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, if you find this one anyway entertaining tonight and would like to make a donation, everything Les receives goes towards the channel and making the channel bigger and better for everyone.
Huh?
I'm just checking to see if anyone has any messages. Hope, I'll send you a link to I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tag both of you on Twitter, so that way you can get her Twitter. And pair of you at each other. She's called What Is That? It's W. What is it? You are WTH, isn't it? You'll recognize her picture anyway, Les.
Probably. Tess Modeste, hello. I'm present to say hi.
Please, everyone, give Les a thumbs up. Yes, please do.
Yeah, if y'all like tonight's show, please give a thumbs up. To get messages in my YouTube. In my own YouTube. Oh, okay. Yeah. What happened when the 17-year-old called the police? That's he gave a description of who he saw, and they knew who it was. They knew it was John Travers. So they went and picked John Travers up. And when they did that, they weren't going to let him go, and that's when his aunt went in there.
And there was one of them, was that spineless. He pissed himself when he got arrested.
It was Greg.
Who?
Greg.
You can see him, can't you, in his arrest pictures, and you see the big patch of piss on the front of his trousers. That's how much of a card he was. You know, he knew. They knew, because they were all hiding. And the cops, through brilliant detective work, managed to track every one of them down.
Nope.
I know that they were very hard on John, but I do John Cobby, not John Travers, but I do think that the police did a fantastic job there. I really do. I don't know about you.
It was all because that 17-year-old boy called.
Yeah. He gives his very first interview in the 30-year anniversary documentary as well. It's the first time I spoke about it.
Yep.
A very sad case. Very sad case. And if just one person remembers Anita's name after the stream tonight, Les will have done a good thing.
Well, like I said, that's why I wanted to shock them. They're not likely to forget Anita Cobby anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I think I worded that incorrectly. I didn't want to sound like a ghoul when I'm repeating the injuries and the autopsy reports. But it's just, we've got to live with this. We've got to understand that that was an innocent human being. That 5 sadists did that to. I can't call them humans, and I'm certainly not going to call them animals.
I'm getting messages. That's why I'm reading. I sent a pic to you, Bam, and you may have one, Liz, but I think she should be seen as the beauty she was. Well, yeah, there's no pictures of her looking crappy. I mean, they're all gone. Because I tried. And there are no pictures of those demons on 2 legs.
No.
Were they diagnosed in prison? Who cares? I don't know.
In a mental health capacity, do you mean? They're all completely normal. They one of them has a very low IQ. Gary Murphy, I think it is, has a very low IQ. But no, none of them have any defects that can be held accountable or even slightly accountable for the atrocities. Right, John Travers had been involved in 30 prior rapes. He'd raped a young homosexual in another part of Australia. And he held a knife to the guy's throat and he said, buck back, you bastard, or I'll slit your throat. This was Travers's MO. Now, when I think it was John Travers and Gary Murphy were arrested, they were in bed naked together. But he raped gay men and women, and he'd been involved in 30 prior rapes. He is a serial killer. That's his pathology. If that guy ever gets out, just start counting the bodies, because that's what he is programmed to do. That's what he wants to do. The rest of them were just absolutely disgusting, vile human beings that were frightened of him because he was extremely violent as well. The one that not annoys me the most, the one that makes me really, really angry is Murdoch, Michael Murdoch, because he was 33 years old.
No, Michael Murphy.
Michael Murphy, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Les. He was 33 years old. So, I'm a firm believer that up until you're about 27, you're still not really an expert on being alive, let alone, making decisions. And I'm in no way cutting them any slack here. Certainly when you're 33 years old, you know that you are doing something diabolical. No amount of drugs and alcohol, it can be, used as a source of blame. This was a 33-year-old man that was taking instructions from an 18-year-old, and he did it because he wanted to. But Travers had a long history. Really, he should have been in prison. He'd already committed rapes, and he was known to the police. And the brothers gang were car thieves. They were known. But, for whatever reason, the devil conspired, and all 5 of them came together on that terrible, terrible night.
Rebecca Moore, hello. I think it's all just... But, now y'all know why I do murder mysteries, is to bring things to the light.
And you've done a good job of it tonight for someone that didn't know that much about it a few days ago. You did brilliant. You're as buffed up on the subject as I am now, Les. In fact, slightly more so.
That's what researching does.
You do good at it. You do good. You did very good at this tonight. You really did.
Thank you. And this is why, I'm wanting to do what I'm wanting to do with my channel. I can't wait until the news desk is up, and that way me and Bam, or me and a guest, whoever it is, can be up here and we can show video clips. If we can.
Only me? No, only me. Not allowed to say nobody else except me when I'm here.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody block Les. Put a fist up.
Jeez. But yeah, and I want to put up the whatever information that I can put up, like missing persons hotline, domestic abuse hotline, that kind of stuff.
Hey, Lisa. Hey, Rebecca.
Oh, Lisa, hello.
I've still got your card from last year, Rebecca. Your Halloween card you sent me. I've still got it on my wall.
The what?
She sent me a card last year for Halloween.
You didn't send me one.
Shut up. Stop it. Block her again, everyone. Trying to steal my thunder and my cards.
If you can without copyright, hopefully. I can show 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Gun Girl, hello. And as long as the pictures are public, I can use them. I can use them for educational purposes.
So, guys, in the chat, when Les does get her OBS thing up and we kind of get this to where we have an idea, would you like us to do an updated chat on this with some snippets from the documentaries? Would you like us to do that? If you would, can you put a 1 or a yes in the chat, please, just so that we know? Because we both have to have notebooks to jot down ideas to make it as entertaining and interesting and as informative to you as possible. Yes, please. Yeah, Les, we're getting ones and yeses, so I would like an update. Maybe you could get some of John's interview.
Yeah.
As long as we clip it, as long as we stop it after a certain amount of seconds and then run it.
Well, yeah. Well, you have to use less than 30% of the video or whatever. I'm not going to run the whole thing. It will all be snippets anyway.
Okay, brilliant. Right,
But
guys.
for educational purposes, you have to use, I think it's less than 30 or less than 10% of the whole entire video, whatever it is. And less than 10%, and you comment and make comments, and it's for educational purposes.
And we'll also leave information about the Anita Cobby Foundation. Should any of you ever be visiting Australia, or you want, I know that they have the very first Parents of Murdered Children Foundation, and that's Anita's foundation. And they've helped the Baggis schoolgirls. If any of you's heard of the Baggis schoolgirls murder, and a couple of others, they've consulted, supported those parents. So everything that goes into the foundation goes straight back into supporting victims of murder in Australia and New Zealand.
Amy May, my love.
God. Long time no see. Hey up, Amy.
Hello. Witty Window, hello.
Hey, Witty.
Hope he says I'm listening and cleaning up. Yeah, so, when we do these kind of stories, it's going to be informative, educational, and I will be putting up hotlines and shit like that, phone numbers, websites, whatever I can to get the information out there. So that's when everything is in place, because I showed Bam, and I think I showed everybody, 2 squares are showing and then the ticker below, but I'm like, where's the desk and the outline in the room and everything else? Oh, Woody's loving the face. Oh,
see how enthusiastic she's getting about things now.
Because all my creative ideas are coming to fruition.
Absolutely.
Y'all don't believe this, but I'm extremely creative. And I just didn't know how. And so, now that I have somebody help me and showing me, and I'm working with it and stuff like that, my creative juices are just flowing in things that I really want to do, and the things that I really, the me is coming out. I mean, I've always been me, but I've always been depressed too. But the creative me is coming out.
Yeah, you can tell.
And so, and I have a lot more. There's a lot of interests that I have, and there's a lot of things I want to do.
Why don't you and me do Australian crime? Because I've got quite a few cases that would probably work here. We could do that every other Sunday or what if you like, Les? Or you could do them yourself, but I don't think there's many Australian crimes covered.
That's because we're in the United States, Bam.
Yeah. Someone asked,
Australia's clear across is on the other half of the globe. And
never knew,
it's Australia.
I never knew that. Someone asked me where I was. I am in my bedroom in Nottingham, Robin Hood Land, UK. That's where I am. And my accent is a mixture of Belfast, Northern Ireland, and Nottingham dialect.
Amy, you're leaving already? I was going to ask you if you want to come up on panel. Connie says, unless it's a huge case, we don't hear about it. I don't hear about none of them. But I think it's important to let people know that all over the world, there are these horrific crimes, and the victims should be remembered. Always.
Yeah.
The victims should always be remembered. You need to do female murderers, Liz. I know. I am actually subbed to quite a few of them. There's the thing of it is there's millions of crimes out there. And if I can do my little part with my little teeny channel to help remember the victims, let's forget about the killers. But Bam's not in USA, Liz. Oh, I know. I'm playing with her. She knows that.
Catherine Knight. That's one you might want to cover.
I've heard of her. Actually, I think I saw something on her. I think I'd go back to my archive. But I think with anything, if we can get the word out, and if there are like foundations set up in the victims' names, I want to get that out. You know, I want to memorialize them. Not only memorialize them, but anybody who's been in any kind of, like I said, domestic abuse. You know, there's tragedies. Oh my God, the tragedies with that. Victims need to be remembered, and their murders need not to be idolized. Exactly. Phoebe said, "Give the victims the last word, Les. Naming foundations and laws their crime inspired or people they inspired." Exactly. Exactly.
Sandra says Australia really dropped the ball on a serial rapist not being in jail. Shakes my head. Trevor's right. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. What the hell? Is it because he was a minor or what?
Because he was a minor and because his mother was severely disabled.
Yeah, but I mean, no offense, but could they not see the writing on the wall after 30 of them?
Well, when he put a teardrop on his eye, a teardrop is supposed to show other people that you've committed a murder. One teardrop's one murder, two teardrops, two murders, and so forth and so forth.
Yeah.
This guy was only 15 when he tattooed this teardrop. Now, if I'd have been the probation officer or the police officer in his area, I would have had an extremely close eye kept on him.
No kidding.
Because that is, it's untold confession. You know, I have killed. Here's my teardrop. And if I walked into my tattoo studio and said to Paul, "Oh, Paul, I'm in to get a teardrop," he would beat the shit out of me. You know, Paul and I've been friends for 25 years. He would absolutely slaughter me. And that's one thing they won't tattoo up there. They won't put teardrops on face. In fact, they won't put them on necks or faces unless, you know, they really know the client. But yeah, that's what a teardrop stands for. So he was 15 years old and he's putting a teardrop on his face. To me, tells me that, you know, there might be something they want to look into in this fucker's past.
Um, my producer is watching, and she said, "Bam, tell Bam that I am watching, and I'm very proud of both of you."
Oh, that's really nice. Thank you so much. I will accept a check of £1 million as a token of your gratitude. I
Oh
shall
my
expect
god!
it in the post tomorrow. But thank you so much indeed.
Oh my gosh! I'll just accept the Publishers Clearinghouse of $5,000 a week for life.
Yeah. You like my tattoos? Thank you. Yeah, I have an exceptionally good tattoo artist.
Well, he needs to come over here and do mine.
No, you're not getting tattoos off him.
Oh, jeez.
Can't see shit.
Clark,
I'll show you
I don't know. Well, go
stuff.
ahead. Go ahead. That's her new one.
Craig does mates rates for me. I bake him pies and fairy cakes. We've been friends for a long time, so he does mates rates, or I wouldn't be able to afford to get tattoos.
Friends with benefits.
Oh yeah, we're good friends. We've both
Oh,
said
yeah.
if we're not married, if he's not married by a certain age, we're getting married to each other. We'll just be Darby and Joan.
That's the
No
way to do it.
intimacy involved, you know. We're just really good friends. But yeah, he is an exceptionally good tattoo artist. I'd be lost without him, and he's a good friend too. Lovely.
Okay, I don't. Look, I thought you were done talking.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm used to
I
you.
was going to say, I don't. No, you weren't. There was. It was no. There was nothing said. Well, anyway,
Anywho,
I don't know if you've been paying attention to Clark. But Clark's brother is a predator, and he spent 50 plus years enabled by the legal system as well. Um, so she has some personal experience, hands on, with a predator. It's Clark's brother. Oh,
thank you guys. Thank you for all your compliments on my tattoos. So, Clark, is your brother a serial offender? Oh, my tattoo artist, I know you should see him. He weighs 4 stone wet through. And I don't eat meat, but I make him big pies, steak and potato pies, corned beef, potato and onion pies, fairy cakes, um, and chocolate brownies. And he galloped his way through them. I make them all. I try to bake them all something when I go up now, so that the ones downstairs have something too, and the boys have got their pies. And when they're not hungry, they're able to tattoo a lot better. But when they're hungry, they get agitated. So hang on a minute.
Sandra, thank you for the claps.
We're still wet through, yeah. What a fairy. Fairy cakes. You know your recipe: a cup, a cup, a cup. A cup of self-raising flour, a cup of caster sugar, and 50. I think is it 50 or 100 grams of margarine. Well, and 2 eggs. You just mix all this together, and you put them in little tiny bun cases, we call them here, and they're just like little tiny cakes, little teeny tiny cakes, and we call them fairy cakes. And you can cut the middle of them out and put icing or fresh cream in, and then that little tiny circle that you've cut out, you cut it in half, and it looks like little wings. So we call them fairy cakes. So I bake. Sorry, go on, Les.
Go ahead.
I bake the fairy cakes for the ones downstairs. There's the girls are downstairs, and then there's Craig and Lee are in the big studio upstairs. So they get meat pies, and the girls get fairy cakes.
I love how you call margarine.
Margarine.
I love how it's margarine.
Hang on,
Butter.
a pedophile as well.
Yes, says Clark.
Oh.
I was going to read that.
So he's a serial offender.
Yeah.
And I'm very sorry for you that you've had to go through this.
Same here.
Is this guy still in the system, or is he free now?
I think he's passed on.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now I know that is. Was going to look it up. So, was he violated when he was young? We ought to have Clark get up here and answer some questions. There's a woman he violated terribly who was still in mental institute because of him. She was 14 when he assaulted her. Jesus. That is sad.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what I'm going to say to you, Clark? You're very brave for having the balls to come out and talk about this publicly. And if it wasn't for people like you, we would learn less and less and less, because there's only so much that they'll tell and they'll admit. The rest of it's guesswork. So, again, I'm very, very sorry that you've had to deal with this, but thank you for saying what you've said tonight. Mad respect for you, because I don't think I would be as forthcoming with information like that.
Trisha, my whole family is discussing. That's why they are on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast. The Sanders is for you, Liz. Anything? Aww.
Guys, excuse me.
He died 5 years ago riding his bike. Got hit by a school bus. Well, there you go. But it's not. I look at it this way. That's Clark's brother. That's not Clark. So just like I can't be lumped in with my sister if my sister does something assholish. That's my sister. Yes, in reform school at age 10. Jesus. Yeah, Clark is brave. Trish, I drank and drugged myself. Drugged because I didn't want to be like them. There's a book written by a pedophile that sheds light on the subject. Ex-pedophile. He knows that he can never be cured, but he wanted to write a book to inform parents. Wow. Clark says, I was becoming them. Thank God I got sober. Yes. Was 35 years in recovery? Yes. No one has control over family. That is right, Vintage Gal. Oh. Clark has a different kind of hell he has to live with. That is not his doing whatsoever. Exactly. I like Lama, Clark. Like I said, glad you survived. And you are not your family. Hell no. Hell no, thank God. I wish my meds would kick in. Les, we all have sisters that are assholish, but we still take up for them. I know I do. I know I do. I still deal with nightmares and fear, but I don't have to something anymore, says Clark. Ex-pedophile my ass. Clark feels very strongly about this, and I don't blame Clark. Clark, are you a guy or a girl? I really don't know. I sis in law school. I don't stick up for her. I've only got one sibling, and it's my sister, and that's it. I'll have to. I'm the older sister. I love her, but you can diss her, Les, but don't let anyone else diss her type thing. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's... $25 before they knew where I was at. Awesome. Greg Huffman, you have a good night, hon. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, Greggy. The police found me for them. Oh, that man, I'd be like, don't tell them where I'm at. LEZ'S says, Vintage, I have 2 sister-in-laws and 1 brother-in-law, and I don't stick up for them because they're assholes. We haven't talked in 3 years. I went 3 years without talking to my sister. Oh, yeah. Well, it kind of scares me because I think you're a woman, and then somebody calls you a he, and I'm like, what? My one sister is a drop dead knockout and a bitch on heels. My other sister is incredibly intelligent with a master's in biochemistry. I'm in the middle. Dude, I'm the oldest of 11, and please don't start giving me their flaws. I'll take my own gladly, but they are separate beings. Exactly. Oh, man. I have 0 siblings. One passed. The other, well, never mind. Kind of solid C student here. Where's Van Lufa? Van Lufa, hello. Hey, listen, Chad. I've been here for a while, but I rewound it and listened to the case. Disgusting it is. It really is. I'm trying to see where Mike V... Oh, there he is. Mike V, hello. It is disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. I went nuts when they found me. I can't believe the police told them. I'd be like, dudes, there's a reason why I'm across the country. I'd move. I got 4 sisters that are alive that I haven't spoken to them in 45 plus years. Wow. Wow. How many kids were in your family, Clark? I know Les. I don't know where they got. I was a he. Yeah. Les never said hello to me, but it's yes, I did, Lisa. You can rewind it. Lisa, hello. I did say hi to you. When I realized you were in here, I went, Lisa, hello. I really did. Judith, I said hello too. Judith Espinoza, hello. Well, you know, when Bam starts talking, I'm not allowed, so. Therapy has taught me it's okay to share my storm. Well, Clark, we're here for you. We're here for you. I may not have. Just like I said, when Bam talks, I've been told to shut up. I did, and they didn't care. Well, there's a reason why you haven't talked to your family. I've been like, it was not your guys' position to tell them where I'm at. I left them for a reason. I'd be pissed. Nine. Wow. Wow. Oh, hey, you guys. While I'm thinking about it, Lisa, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Lisa. Happy birthday to you. Lisa is now 42 today, y'all. As of midnight. My time, anyway. Her birthday is the 8th, Monday. Suboxone kills. This lady smokes a lot. Never seen anyone beg for cancer so bad. Well, you know what, Suboxone? Because Suboxone's not the only thing that kills.
I'm back. Sorry.
Lisa probably thought I forgot. Just finished up 6 months of therapy again. I know when I need help and can ask. Awesome. I cannot believe my foot is killing me this bad. I took my meds.
What's wrong with it?
My foot is killing me.
Is it
I need to get something to eat. So I will be right back. I'm only making nuggets. It's a minute and a half in the microwave. There you go.
Okay, guys, I'll be with you in 2 seconds.
Uh-oh.
Oh. No nuggets for you.
Hello. Pizza. Hello.
Hello, Baba, sweetie. Love you.
Hi, Peter. I love you too.
Thank you, Baba. Les, you look fucking hot tonight. I love that combination of the shirt and the hat. It's one of your best looks, Les. Fucking brilliant.
Well, thank you.
Les, I have to say this. I'm not going to be crude. I promise it's not crude. But that microphone of yours, it looks kind of phallic to me, Les. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know.
It's got that penis quality, Les.
It does.
Like, be careful. You might swallow it, Les.
Yeah, I know.
Les, is today Lisa's birthday?
Today's Lisa's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Lisa.
Lisa, happy birthday, sweetie. Love you.
Yeah, Lisa, well, it is in my time zone. It hasn't reached her time zone yet, but...
Oh, it's not... Oh, I understand. Les, listen, Les. I went to see a movie today, Les. I went to see the remake of A Star is Born with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, Les.
Yes, how is that?
Les, let me just tell your viewers, your listeners, that I was very impressed. I mean, you know, when you think Lady Gaga, you think music, Les, but do you really think actress? Not really, Les, but I have to tell you, she was very impressive in her film debut, Les. Very impressive.
Really?
Les, it's a good film. Some of the songs were fucking fantastic, Les. nominated for Oscar because it's kind of early yet. But it's a very strong contender, Les. Very solid movie. Has anyone in the chat seen the movie? Thank you.
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I'm looking forward to the Freddie Mercury film.
Bam Bam. Is that movie opening by you, Bam Bam?
Yes, it opened here. I think it was this weekend, but I want to see the Freddie Mercury biopic. I want to see that. That has got Oscar penned in. They're all touting that for Oscar as well.
Well, let me just say that the two of them, Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, have excellent chemistry. And listen, I'll say this. Unlike Madonna, Lady Gaga can sing and she can act. Thank you.
Oh my God. Okay.
And let me just say this. Nashville, wake the fuck up. Thank you.
I don't know where she went.
Exactly. I know where she is. I think she's hanging out with Chris. Chris, where the fuck are you? Thank you.
He just told Lisa happy 21st, and he's at work.
Oh, Les. Listen, it's always a treat when Bam Bam makes a guest appearance. I love Bam Bam. She's fun. She has a great sensibility to the Les show. I love her. She's great.
Oh, thank you, Peter. I love you too.
You're welcome, sweetie. Love you. Les, whoever created your wardrobe tonight, kudos. It's a fucking brilliant job. You need to wear more purple. You might be the lady in red, Les, but you're also the lady in purple. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
And you've got that funky pimp look happening. I fucking love it, Les.
I have the what look happening?
You've got the pimp look with the hat.
Yeah, it's supposed to be my investigator's hat. It's sparkly too.
No, I fucking love it. I'm just trying to deal with the microphone issue, but I'm getting used to it, Les. I think it's fucking brilliant, Les. You're making a statement. Thank you.
Oh God, Peter.
Let me just say thank you so much. Les, I love you. You're doing a great show tonight. Bam Bam, always a pleasure. And
bye. He rocks.
A pastel yellow one a couple of days ago, and you really suit that. Yellow's your color.
Oh, that was lime green.
Well, it looked yellow. Oh, maybe it's because I've only one good eye. Right, go and get your nuggets.
Oh, I will. I'm trying to figure out who's texting me. Hold on. My phone keeps sending me. Jeez. All right, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna get my nuggets. I really shouldn't be eating. I really should be going to bed, but hey.
Thank you, Lilac. I will indeed. I will. I've got Pixie with me at the moment. So did you guys enjoy this stream tonight? Would you like us to do more like that?
Well, yeah.
Oh. Okay, I'm supposed to be.
Okay.
I want to forgive someday. It's just not that today. Yeah, I'm the same as that, Clark. I can't forgive Jodi Arias. It's just one of those things I cannot ever forgive, especially with the amount of lies that she told.
Well, aren't we supposed to be covering that on a certain day? Because I didn't want them to know that you know.
Oh no! Well, yeah, I only watch the case. So will you go and make your nuggets, and I'll talk to the
I'm getting ready to right now.
in, and then I'm going to
I
lose
need to
my
put my microphone off to the side so it won't bother Peter so much, but
weight.
it really works good when I want to talk in the deep voice. Who is the next one? I don't know yet. I really don't know.
Yes, Connie, she is indeed. The lies that that creature told, absolutely diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. You know, she sat and made that story up the night that she was incarcerated. Well, when she was arrested, held in jail. She made that all up. Ninjas and um him being a pedophile, and honestly there wasn't one thing that came out of her mouth that was the truth. But yeah, we'll cover it sometime, and yeah, with a bit of luck, you'll get to learn a lot more that you didn't learn in the trial. Was that Suboxone person talking about me? I just walked in when I heard Les saying something about smoking so much. I do smoke too much. I know that I do, but I also use a filter tip, which it's not great, but I don't have any tar on my lungs. That these take out the tar. So was that me that they were having a go at? Yeah, Connie. Yeah, we're definitely trying to get something sorted out for this. It's. I want to wait until Les has her system up and going, and then I've got something. Well, hopefully I'll be able to pull something off, and that should be quite a good stream. I might be able to provide us with a guest or two, and that's all I can really say at the moment. But yeah, were they talking about me? Is that who they were referring to? If any of you's heard, what's everyone's plans for Monday? Well, my washing machine got rid of today, Lisa, so they're coming to take the defective machine away, and hopefully I'll spend some time on the phone with the insurance company, fighting with them to give me a decent machine to replace the defective one. And that's it. When I'm pissed off, really upset, or drinking, I smoke a lot. Yeah, I smoke a bit too much. I know that I do, and I'm not going to say but. There's reasons that I smoke so much. It's a stress thing. It really is stress. No, they were talking about Les. Thank you, Lisa. I just heard them saying someone about wanting cancer, are ready to go into a big rant there about it. Cheeky sods. I do wish people wouldn't make observations and then form opinions on their observations. That really bothers me. Yeah, but you know what, Clark? Maybe sometime you'd like to come on panel and talk about this. Tell me the story about digging to hell. That's a great story. Judith. Well, it was when my dad was a band promoter, and I was very, very, very little. And to me, it was a huge garden. There was trees down at the back, and it was Mummy's little willow walk. And up the left-hand side of the garden, it was dirt. There was nothing planted. It must have been in between seasons. And Dad he had the Sex Pistols over. He was doing the Sex Pistols gig, and my mum had caused a row about this. She didn't want them in the house, and Dad said, you do realise that Johnny Rotten's got a better education than you do. And she was, oh, no, he doesn't. And he said, yeah, he does. This guy's a genius. So she said, oh, I'm not having them in my home. And Dad said, well, it's my home and it's my job, so they're coming here. And I'm out the back, and I'm digging and digging, and I'm digging in all this muck. And I'd already pulled out a big rock, and it was like a big, long, pointy shaped thing. So, of course, I was putting an idea in my head. And the Sex Pistols came to the house. Dad went and got them and brought them to the house. I was still digging with my pet tortoise beside me. And they come out the back for a cigarette. They were all having a smoke. And I think it was either John Lydon or Steve Jones said to me, what are you doing? And I said, I'm digging. They said, well, what are you digging for? And I said, I'm digging for hell. I was I'm digging to see if there's really hell. Because I thought that this rock that I pulled out was one of the devil's horns. And that was my little fucked up head at that time. It shows you what kind of kid it was. And I was digging and digging and digging like mad for to try and get so far down I found hell. And the Pistols thought this was brilliant. And they're all going, oh, hear what that little kid said. Yeah, she's digging for hell. And they all gave me 50p. 50p is like half of £1. And that was like billions of pounds when I was little. So I went over to the sweet shop and I bought us all a lucky bag. And it was a bag, a paper bag that you got, and it had some sweeties in it, some candy, and then it had a little prize and a little toy. And you know, a little kid, these were the best things in the world. So I bought each of the Sex Pistols a lucky bag and bought myself one with all the 50Bs. And they were so impressed with me, they gave me all their change and they let me ride in the car to their gig. But yeah, I was digging for hell, and the Pistols thought I was brilliant. I didn't know they were the Sex Pistols. I just thought they were the Peacock Boys. That's what I called them, the Peacock Boys. And I've got another funny story for you. It was a lot of years ago. Griffin was very little, and he wanted to go to the shop. Now, I live in a small country village, and you know, the worst crime here is woman flashes milkman ankle. Shock horror. You know, I was probably the worst person in the village. So he wanted to go to the shop, and I said no, and he went on and on and on. He said, I ride my bike, Mummy. And I said, no, you're not riding your bike. Anyway, he talked me round that he was going to the shop. And off he went. So he was gone quite a bit. And I thought, where has he got to? And I went down the drive, and, you know, I kept coming back up and going back down the drive. And I'm looking up and down the street. There's no sign of him. And then I see this big, big, big car pull around the corner into the street. Well, it looked like a roller or a Bentley to me. You know, it was a big, big, big car. And I thought, well, that's nothing to do with me. Came in, closed the door. And the next thing I had this pitter-patter, little feet running up the drive. And Griffin comes flying through the door. He goes, it's me, Mom. And I come out. I said, where were you? And he was he looked like he'd been dragged through a hedge backwards. And I said, oh, my God, what happened to you? He said, it's okay, Mommy. I made a new friend. And I said, right. I said, what has happened? And he said, well, I fell off my bike. He said, and I was lying on the ground crying and bleeding. He said, and my new friend came and picked me up and fixed me all up and brought me home in their car. He said, they're getting my bike out now. He said, he fixed my bike too. And I said, oh, dear. So, you know, of course, this car had obviously turned and was going back down the street, this big, big car. And, you know, they went beep, beep, and were waving out this bloke and his wife. And I stood there going, it was Brian May. Brian and Anita. They used to own a house up here. So they usually would have been in our local pub, the Hut, but everyone left them alone. But what had happened was Griffin had fallen off his bike, and they'd seen him come off the bike, and Brian had got out of the car and put him on Anita's knee, and she'd pulled, you know, tissues out of her bag and was licking the tissues and wiping all the blood off him. Brian May picked up his bike, put the chain back on it because the chain had come off, put it in the boot of his Bentley and drove him home. That was Griffin's new friend. I've made a new friend, Mommy. And he said, you'd like him. He has all long, mad, curly hair. And he's very, very nice. And yes, it was Brian May from Queen. It was Griffin's new friend, and he'd fixed his bike and brought him home from the local shops.
Aww.
You know, it would only happen to Griff. But yeah, they used to live up here. Actually, they still have a house up here. Brian's mum lives at the turn of Mansfield. She lives up there. But yeah, Brian May and his wife Anita fixed Griffin and put. He had all bits of, tissue. Whenever you break tissue up and stick it on a cut, he had all these bits of tissue stuck all over his face, and she gave big lipsticky kisses and patted his little head and all that. So he was a nice kid at one time. And yeah, Brian May had fixed his bike and brought him home in the big push car. So yeah, I'll get him to tell you about that sometime. It was so funny. I've made a new friend, Mommy.
I'd say so.
Yeah, Queen Brian May. He and Anita used to be in the hut. They were in the hut loads of times when we were in, but it wasn't like we always went over and bothered them. He would have come out and had a smoke along with us, and he just would have been. He wasn't standoffish and he wasn't super chatty, but he was the type, if you were fumbling around to find a light, he would have offered you a light, and he would maybe have remarked on how cold it was, or he'd have said, they've got a new beer on draft or something. Very nice people. Very, very, very nice people. And they just fit into the village. When there was any village activities, they would come if they're in the United Kingdom. It depends on where he stays. I know he's got a place in London. And he's got a place in Popplewick, which is just 5 minutes down the road. And then they own a house here. And one of the guys from Small Faces lives up here as well. He lives facing a pub, Larch Farm. He lives I'll take a photograph of that house for you. It's like a Spanish. He's kind of done it like a Spanish villa on stilts, and it's on like a drop, and the whole place is all lit up with underground garages. It's really nice. But he's the guy that was in Small Faces. Yeah, we've a couple of them. But I seen Brian and Anita in the pub quite a lot when I used to go to the pub. But it was never like you would have run over and started talking. It was like, our village is a small village, and you can't just leave each other alone. If people want to talk, they'll join in, and if they want to be left alone, you don't kind of. Though of course there was drunk people that would have wanted to say, from the crown, but none of us ever did that. We were just. Him and her were there, and we just kind of left them alone. I don't mean like they sat at one end of the pub and ignored everybody. There were many times when, the tables were, it was all just one big giant crowd having a laugh, but none of us actually went into, what was Freddie Mercury like, and what was it like doing this and that and the other. None of us ever done that. But as I say, the closest that I got to him was whenever he picked up Griffin and brought him home covered in blood. And they cleaned
Who's Anita? Who's Anita?
His wife.
Oh, okay. I missed it.
I've told you about Brian May bringing Griffin home before.
No.
You mustn't have been listening to me. You horrible, rude girl. Not telling you out of badness. Everybody ignore Les. Please. Let's see. Love your stories. Always have good ones. I've met a lot of. It was because my dad worked in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I was never like starstruck. I was used to these guys. Like Dad did Michael Jackson, and he did Queen, the Pistols, Elton John, the early Wham gigs. He did everybody. I can't rhyme them all off, but I knew what he did from I was very young, so it was just like Dad's work. And I know he used to sometimes would have brought me when it to gigs if they'd maybe forgotten something and Dad had to bring it to the gigs, he would have brought me with him, and I was a menace because I wanted to help, so they'd have been laying out all the equipment, the roadies would have been putting up all the equipment, and of course I'd have been in the middle of it, thinking I was helping, but really I wasn't. But my favourite was the Sex Pistols because they all gave me money. They all gave me 50p and let me go in the car with them, and I was filthy, and they were remarking on how dirty this little kid was. This little girl, with pigtails, and I was pig and filthy. But I think that was when the ball started rolling, and it really hasn't stopped. If there's a famous person in town or somewhere about, you can guarantee I'll bump into them. It's always been that way. Come here. Come here. What a sweet girl. You're a little Pixie. Pixie wants to say hello to everyone because she's so beautiful. It's my little
She has no hair.
She's Playboy Bunny for rats. She's Playmate of the Year, Naked Lady.
Oh, jeez.
She's Hugh Hefner's favourite naked lady, aren't you, sweetheart? Yes, because you're just too gorgeous. Most beautiful girl in the world.
Dan's had a colorful life, y'all.
Yeah.
She got to hang out with some big time blokes where somebody like me is in a small town. We've only traveled, but
E?
Huh?
Oh, thank you, Trisha. She's beautiful, isn't she? I'm gone from crying to laughing. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that you're laughing. How old was Griffin? Oh, hang on. I want to know about the Brian May story. He was I think he was about 7. Yeah, he was about 6 or 7. And as I say, we live in, it's a small village, so the shop's like, 3 minutes away.
Yeah.
And his school's right beside it. And he was gone a good 10, 15 minutes, and I started to think, where the hell's he gone? Because he was the kind of kid that would have knocked one of his friends' doors, and even if his friend wasn't in, he would have went in and sat down and chatted to the mum and dad. And as I say, disappeared, and I kept looking out up and down the drive, and then I seen this big square front of the car turning into the street. I thought, well, that's nothing to do with me. And of course it was Brian May and Anita bringing Griffin home with bits of tissue stuck all over him and big lipstick kisses, because he'd been crying and, and she'd been wiping his face and giving him big kisses and all that.
How old is Griffin now?
He is 20. Griffin's 20 now. He will be 21 in 2 months' time if I don't kill him. If I don't murder my own child, he will live to see 21.
Mm-hmm. Now, which one was Brian May?
Brian is the one with the long hair. The guy with the curly hair. The guitarist.
Guitar?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they brought him home. He'd sat on Anita's knee in the front of the car and chatted away to them on the way home, telling them all about his dog. And I said, why didn't you tell them to stop, so I could have went out and thanked them? Because they're probably thinking, what kind of mother is this? I'm screaming on the ground. But it was Brian picking his bike up and fixing it was what I found was hilarious. Brian May from Queen standing fixing this little kid's bike and then cleaning him all up and driving him home. That's a decent guy. Those are decent people to do that. Many other people would have just, driven on, but they didn't. They brought him home and seen him home safely. Really good people.
Awesome. Intense. Hello. Isn't he an astrophysicist as well?
Yes, he is. He's an astrophysicist, and he's also a qualified doctor now too. So is John Deacon. John Deacon actually has a medical practice, and Roger Taylor is a qualified dentist. So it would be cool to be caught in a lift with them, you know what I mean?
They're all working as they're in those professions. Like they need work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think Brian's retired now. I know he spends a lot of time in Ireland now, and I haven't been out for years and years and years. But I know any of the whack pack that I do speak to, they haven't seen them up there for a long time. So I don't know if he's given up alcohol. I maybe shouldn't say this, but I know Brian suffers very badly from depression, very badly, and he's contemplated suicide several times. So I think that he possibly has given up the alcohol as a way to try and combat this terrible clinical depression that he suffers from.
Was it because of Freddie dying or?
Oh, no, it's chemical. He suffered with it from he was very young.
So, when Freddie Mercury died, how did England take it? Or were they as big over there as they were here?
Well, you see, the thing was, there was Freddie Mercury, and there was a very famous comedian here called Kenny Everett. And Kenny Everett and Freddie Mercury were best friends for a long time. Now, the rumours always were around that Freddie was gay. But when Kenny Everett came out and said that he had AIDS and then he died, everybody started to worry about Freddie because Freddie had retired from public life and there was constant public denials. But in the background, any of us that were involved in the industry in any way, we kind of had a good idea because the crowd that they hung around in was quite small. And we all had an idea that he was HIV positive. Well, he came out with this public statement after so many years of denying it, and he said, actually, I do have AIDS, and then he died like 12 hours later. So a lot of people were completely shell-shocked, you know, because Freddie was a legend to us. He was a national hero. He made Live Aid. You know, you ask anybody about Live Aid, the first thing they'll say is, oh, Freddie Mercury. You know, and he kind of made Live Aid the thing that it grew to be. And then he retired from public life and he made Barcelona. I remember seeing him in the video for Barcelona and I thought, oh, he doesn't look good. He'd lost an awful lot of weight. And then he released The Show Must Go On, I'm Going Slightly Mad. And then that song, you know, where he says, I love you. And I remember thinking, he does, he's got AIDS, he's got to. Because he and Freddie Mercury, or Kenny Everett, they kind of, I really don't like to say this, but they shared sexual partners. And Kenny's family was determined to find out where he caught it from, and they traced it back to this one Russian guy. Well, Freddie had been involved with this Russian guy as well. So we pretty much had an idea that, you know, Fred weren't doing too good, and unfortunately we were right. I was devastated. Personally, I was devastated. I had to come out of work that night when the news broke. I was just gutted. He was a highly respected individual as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he loved animals. He did a lot for animal charities. He did a lot for cats. And he was our Freddie. You know, we couldn't believe that we were never going to see him or hear him again.
Girl, I can tell you exactly where I was when I found out he died. I had just come into my apartment. Cheryl and Ian are there. TV was over here in this corner. I had come home from work. I worked day shift. And I just turned on TV and this thing came on just as I turned it on. Freddie Mercury has passed away, and I was like, what? No way. Oh, I was like, it can't be. But yep.
Yeah. He died the same day as Eric Carr from Kiss died.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrible.
I was like, man. No more music.
Good night.
Andrew, you have a good night, hon. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Judith. Do you agree? Do you like it? Have you enjoyed yourself in here tonight? And do you think you'll come back?
Huh?
I'm talking to the chat. Janet says Coplin, I told you Les and Bam were great. And I'm just saying thank you. And did you enjoy it?
My mom took her to bed when he passed away, man. I tell you what, it was just, I was blown. I called up my friend Michelle. I was like, you're not going to believe this. She's just like, no. I said, oh my God. But they wouldn't say what he died from or how he died. They just said he had passed away, this and that. And it was, I forget where they said he was and blah, blah, blah. And I said, that was AIDS.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, thank you, Vicky. Vicky said Bam and Levs have the best stories. Love popping into Levs' chats. Thank you, thank you. Stay Gold, hello.
Yeah, it was very sad.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know. I loved Freddie. I still think Freddie was from the future. And he was sent back.
He probably could have been.
I do believe that. And that's what I would like to have a conversation with Brian May about. Brian's into all those astrophysics and time travel and what have you.
Liz, if you had brushes with fame, I mean, nothing like hers. I mean, I took a ride in Paul McCartney's limo with his limo driver, me and a few friends of mine. Joseph Laurie, hello. Hi, my favorite YouTuber. Hello, Joseph. We were at McDonald's down in Charleston, West Virginia, and believe you guys, I'm telling you, you want to see some stars? Charleston, West Virginia is loaded. They're everywhere on any given day. But I was at the Capitol. Oh no. No, right. Me and three friends of mine. One of her name's Kelly Beamer. The other one is LC. I forget her last name, and there was somebody else I didn't care for her. But anyway, so we went to McDonald's. We walked out there to McDonald's, and we walked everywhere. So we were sitting there, and we're looking at this limo outside. Okay, and the limo driver is inside eating a Big Mac. And I'm sitting there and munching on my cheeseburgers, and I was like, me and Kelly were sitting there saying something. And so they said, I wonder if he'll give us a ride. I said, worst thing to do is say no. So me and Kelly Beamer asked, can we get a ride in a limo? Where are you going? We told him. And he said, yeah, I can give you a ride. And so when we were all done, we all went out. And he's standing there, and I said, I'm just curious. I said, who you driving for? Paul McCartney. No, yeah, come on now. I'm telling you. He says, no, Paul McCartney. He's doing a concert right now. I'm like, so what do? You just wait around? He said, yeah, that's what I do. Take them where they got to go. wait around and do whatever. I was like, are you serious? He said, yeah. So they gave us a ride back, and there it was. Paul McCartney's bag was in the limo. Paul McCartney.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, we're in a limo. We think we're the shit. So we get back to the school. And, of course, we're getting out of a limo. And he's saying bye to us like he's known us all his life and everything like that. I mean, it was just fun. We just had fun. That's all it was to it. Nothing destructive, this, that, but just fun talking. And so he says, well, I got to go pick up Paul. We're just like, well, have fun, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And, there's people outside just looking, going, oh, my God, So, yeah, we the shit. What can we say? But, Paul McCartney's limo driver, Leslie Nielsen, now that's one tall dude. Well, anyway, I was at the Capitol with a group of us, and we had one of our instructors there. And so when I'm looking at the kayaking, the kayaking routes and where they go, where can I go, and this and that. So Mr. Royster puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, Les, look. And I said, what? I turned around and he said, look. And I said, oh my God, it's Leslie Nielsen. So I start to book it over there, and he grabbed my shoulder again. He said, no. I said, then what was the point? Don't let me know. I mean, I'd rather have been stupid. Well, Leslie Nielsen was about a foot taller than every one of his bodyguards. He had like 6 around him. And that is not a lie. And he's like a foot taller than all of them. I mean, I was like, he is one tall dude. But that's about as close. Nothing like Bam's.
Yeah. I tell you, one of the largest celebs I ever met was Christopher Lee. He was Christopher Lee, Dracula, Saruman, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. Now I know you're talking. All right. Yep.
He was a gigantic, huge man. He was a really big, big, tall guy. I think Christopher Lee must have been about 6'5".
Really? It's like Leslie Nielsen.
I burst into tears when I met him.
Why?
Well, when I was little, very, very young, my Uncle Frankie had read Lord of the Rings to me. And I always pictured Gandalf looking like Christopher Lee. One day when I was very young, I can't remember what had happened. I'd fallen out with my mum and dad. So I wrote a letter to Christopher Lee. And I put it in the post box to Christopher Lee, Dracula, London, England. I knew he was in London. Well, and I wrote to him and asked him to adopt me. I said, because you're Gandalf and you're Dracula. And I don't like my mum and dad. They're telling me off or something, something nonsense like that. And anyway, when I met him years later, it just brought me back. It was nostalgic, remembering watching him as Dracula and seeing him in my head as Gandalf. I just got overwhelmed and burst into tears.
Oh.
And he took my hand, and his hand was like a shovel. My hand was like, it was like a child's hand inside an adult's hand. He had big, big, big hands. He was a very nice man. He was lovely. He was a gentleman. And I was on a plane with ZZ Top. I remember being on a plane with ZZ Top and what's his name? Steve Stevens, Billy Idol's guitarist. Well, I thought that I'd lost my handbag. We were flying to Rome, and Steve Stevens was on that flight, and they'd given us free drinks the whole way. So of course, by the time that the plane landed, I was pissed out of my head. And I thought that I'd lost my handbag, and Steve Stevens was pissed as well. So he was like, "Stop! No one's getting off this plane till we find this lady's handbag."
Uh-uh.
So we're looking everywhere trying to find the handbag, and everybody's like pulling the upstairs thingy, all that everybody's looking for it. Anyway, I had it underneath my seat, and everything had spilled out of it. So Steve Stevens helped me get everything in, and I was absolutely hammered. And I said to him, "Steve, you know what?" And he said, "What, honey?" And I said, "I'm so drunk I can't get down these steps." And he said, "Hey, I'll carry you." So Steve Stevens actually carried me down the last fucking steps of the plane. And that was me getting into Rome Airport, pissed as a fart with Steve Stevens from Billy Idol. You know what I mean?
Damn.
It's never like just a smooth transition of, "Hello, how are you?" There's always like a story behind it. I'm digging for hell, or, I'm holding up a plane, or I'm bursting into tears, or, kind of thing. I never, or Griffin's getting picked up by Brian May, my neglected child, lying in the street in a broken bike with the blood pouring out of him. Yeah.
I think the only one that I actually physically touched was Ralphie May, the comedian. He's dead now. But that was it. I don't have no celebrity shit.
I do. Kiss and tell.
When I lived in West Virginia, I was bound and determined to go to Nick Nolte's house because he lives in Charleston, West Virginia.
Thank you, Judith.
So I was bound and determined to find his house, which I found his neighborhood. And I could actually see it from where my school was. I lived on the top floor, and so I had access to the roof. So if you go up on the roof, you could see the neighborhood. But I didn't have any binoculars, and I was like, I need binoculars. And my RA said, "Why do you need binoculars?" I said, "So I can find Nick Nolte's house." He said, "You look stupid up there anyway." I was like, "Well, you're good." I said, to call me a stalker or whatever they did or whatever. But I found his neighborhood, and I was bound and determined to walk that neighborhood and find some old shaggy guy in his PJs and house coat walking around. And I expected him at the mall, so I would go to the mall. And I was sitting in the middle of the mall looking for Nick Nolte. And I did that for over a year.
And did you ever find him?
Fuck no.
Better luck next time.
Well, I'm older now. I don't even know if he even still lives in Charleston. I know he did for years. Years and years and years.
One of the best stories that I heard was Harrison Ford. His plane, he has a private plane, and his plane got into trouble, so he had to make an emergency landing on a golf course. And I was thinking to myself, could you just imagine you're sitting there having a picnic or something, or you're watching the ducks, feeding the ducks or something, and a plane makes an emergency landing, and Obi-Wan Kenobi gets out of it. It could be like, fucking yes.
Obi-Wan comes out.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, because that's who he is, isn't he? Really, he's Obi-Wan Kenobi in everybody's head. But how cool would that be? Him just, getting out of his plane. Hey, everybody.
Han Solo had to make an emergency landing.
Oh, that's it.
Comes Obi-Wan.
That's right, Han Solo. Sorry, yeah. Could you imagine that though? And he also does mountain rescue.
I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Hmm.
That would be so damn cool. I would have bloody loved that, me.
I want to know how much it cost him to fix that golf course.
Well, I'm not really caring about golf. I would just think it was cool. Him, being like a spaceman, and then he's getting out of a plane. I bloody love that. But he does mountain rescue, If you get lost up a mountain, it's him that comes and gets you. So could you imagine, like, you're up a mountain and you all of a sudden you drop your compass and your mobile phone's got no connection and you're like, shit. You know, so the people below think, oh, actually, Bam's stuck up that mountain. She's lost up there. And the next thing, Han Solo comes and flies you home. I friggin' love that, me. I'd be like, well, of all the experiences I've had, this is quite a good one.
Clark, you have yourself a good night. And Clark says, go night. She got to take meds. Thank you for coming in. And she said, thank you, Bam and Les, for tonight. You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing your story. And I hope to see you again. If you ever want to come up and talk about it, you know, just let Les know. She'd be more than happy to have you on.
Yep.
And if we can offer you any advice or support, don't hesitate in asking.
Oh.
Very brave thing that you done tonight.
Nope. Yup. Oh, I guess I can stop talking now. Nuh-uh. I met Casey Kane. I haven't met anybody. Clark says, not everyone. I'll be back. I'll be back.
Hasta la vista.
Hasta la vista, baby. What I want to know is, all right, you guys, we have decided, and Bam agreed to it, I believe, that during the week, you know, when I go live, it will be between 6 and 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually do announcements at the beginning, but I needed to get to the story.
Oui, madame.
So, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when I go live during the week. And if Bam can make it, fantastic. If she can't, she's going to get her pay docked.
Thank you for asking me. Thank you.
Really?
Now, one little thing I wanted to ask, if you don't mind, Les.
Sure.
You can write in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Any subjects that you would like Les and I to cover? Are there any murder cases? Are there any mystery cases that you would like us to cover? Because I can buff up. And I know she's got a lot to do, but I can certainly buff up. And if she don't have time, I can run by the necessary bits and pieces to her on the phone. So is there anything that you would like us to specifically cover? Vickery, please come over. Thank you. I will. I get so sick sometimes. It just messes my entire days and nights up. And you know, I'll say to Liz, oh yeah, you go on live, and she'll say, yeah, and I'll go, yeah, can I come on panel? And she'll say, yeah, and then I fall asleep. And really, that's the way it happens, isn't it, Les?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the way it happens.
So if any of you girls in the chat, any of you loungers can think of anything you'd like us to cover, just stick it in there and I'll see if I can access.
Hello, you got a direct line to the booth and live. How are you? Hello.
Les, can you hear me? Les.
Yes, I can hear you.
How come you're not on your phone when I'm looking on this screen?
Because I'm holding it under the microphone so people can hear.
Guess who this is?
I have no idea, honey.
Come on, take a guess.
I have no idea.
You make me laugh, you make me cry, because you guys are real.
Is this Laura's Hope?
No.
Okay.
It's Cope and Clark.
Oh, Clark, hello.
I figured before I go to bed, I have to call. I've been sitting every night thinking I'm going to call because I wrote down your number weeks ago.
Okay.
And I decided tonight I would do it.
Awesome. Awesome.
I wanted to do it, but tonight was the best that has happened in your live chat. I want you to know that.
Well, thank you.
It was the best for me.
Well, thank you.
And I love coming into your chat.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I used to go into a lot of chat rooms, and I don't do that anymore because they were so fake. There was so much vulgarity. There was so much, backstabbing or whatever, and that doesn't happen in your room. And so every day when that bell goes off and I see that you're on, boom, I gotta come in.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I try to keep it that way. That doesn't mean I've never been involved in it. That just means I want to get away from it. I got other things I want to do.
Shit happens sometimes, but you are the most real in any chat that I've ever been in. And I've been on the internet for 12 years.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I've been in a lot of chats, and I jump around to different ones, and I'm so glad that I found your room. And I just wanted you to know that. I can type all day, and I know sometimes I just get on my keyboard, and I type and type and type, and I send messages on the screen. But that's just the way it is. And I thought, you know what? I'm really going to call before I go to bed.
Well, I'm glad you did.
And I love Bam. Just tell her I love her.
Thank you.
She is hot. And yes, I am a real woman. So I think Eric started that shit that I was a dude.
Oh my gosh. Bad
But
boy Eric.
yeah, Eric's a shit stirrer, so. But you gotta love him.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
He is. Yes.
That's a really nice thing to say to you.
I don't know.
Yes, that's very sweet. I thank you. And I enjoy having you in here.
Well, I enjoy coming in. I don't know what I was doing or where I was before I started coming into your chat room. Just because I'm 35 years sober doesn't make me sane.
Exactly.
And a lot of times I live within insanity, and I can come into your room and I can put it out there where I'm at, what's going on, laugh and joke with people. And I just sit here at my desk and I roll on the floor laughing.
Oh,
There are
good.
just sometimes where you guys just crack me up. But, tell Van Lufa he can't come on the panel because I don't have my mic and I don't have my camera. But as soon as I find that stuff that's packed away, one of these days I will. One of these days I definitely will.
Van Lufa, hello. Did you hear that?
Who, me?
Said Van Lufa. She said she'd come on panel as soon as she finds her mic and camera.
Oh, nice one.
Horsehair gal Laura wants to know if you have her blocked.
Who, me?
No, Clark.
She's been carrying on about that, and you know what? What more can I say about that? But there's nothing I can say.
So you don't have her blocked? You didn't block her?
There's nothing I can say. Those are my dogs. They're like, oh, Mom's talking on the phone. It's time to get crazy here.
Oh, it's about to get nuts in here.
Say what?
The doggies, it's about to get nuts in here.
They're like little kids. Little kids want nothing to do with Mom until Mom's either on the phone or talking to somebody.
Exactly.
And then it's Mommy, 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 Mommy. I've sat at this desk in your room since you were on like 3 minutes before I came into your room. My dogs have not barked for the last 3 hours until I got on the phone with you. And now they're barking. Like, how dare she?
Aww.
So anyways, I'm going to go to bed. I just couldn't resist. I had to call. Hey to Bam. Hey to everybody in the chat rooms. You know, and you're just wonderful.
Well, thank you. So are you. You're a pleasure to have in
you know,
chat.
When I saw the name Les, and like you told me later on, well, my real name is Leslie, but I can see where you would get that. I thought that's where I got to be. There's a sister. I got to be there.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I found her.
Well, have you heard the story how I'm queen of the lesbians? Have you heard?
You're what?
Have you heard the story how I'm queen of the lesbians?
No.
All right. I was born in Licking County at Licking Memorial. Okay, Licking County at Licking Memorial. I grew up just about 150 yards from the Licking River that I used to go swimming in as a child, and I was ordained then and there. And my mom named me Leslie with a Z, and all my friends and family call me Les. Now, and when I got older, my mom found out about me. It was a few years later when she got a sense of humor about things. And I told her, I said, you know, you made me this way. She says, how? Licking River, Licking County Hospital, you know, Licking County, and naming me Leslie with a Z. The day I started swimming in the Licking River, I was then and there ordained as Queen of the Lesbians.
That is too funny.
I'm telling you.
Well, I kind of got it with the name Les, but when I saw you on my monitor, I knew.
Well, yeah, it's obvious. It's obvious. But I really did name it. I really did name it Les after my name, Leslie, and all my friends and family call me Les. And so it wasn't until after I named it that I got the irony of it all.
My neighbor's grandson came out to her, and she's very devout Christian, and she couldn't deal with it. So I was at her house one night, and she goes, oh, I just have to share something with you. And I said, what's that? And she goes, oh, Jaron came out that he's gay, and I just don't know what to do. And I said, where have you been? She goes, what do you mean? I said, I knew when he was 12 years old. She goes, how did you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, you know?
Yeah, same with my neighbors. Their oldest son, Daniel, told them when he was like 17, like right after he graduated high school. And he finally accepted it himself. And I was like, Jen, I've been trying to tell you for the last 6 years that boy was gay. You weren't listening. And I said, all the signs are there. So,
well, it was a big taboo of my family when I came out, and it still is.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just another reason why I stay away. It's like, you know, they get to live in their denial, and thank God I don't have to live within their denial any longer, and I get to live my life.
Exactly.
Although sometimes it's not easy, but there's a way out. I still do therapy, and I do what I have to do in order for me to stay in the right frame of mind. Because and I can't let my family in my life because they would just totally destroy me.
Yeah, I understand.
And that's a reality that I had to accept when I was 15 and 16 years old. You know, and it's just the way of life, but I just don't have to live their way of life. So anyways, I'm going to go to bed now.
All right.
Hope and stir shit. That's why I like her. That's from Eric. Eric, you are freaking crazy, man. He's freaking crazy, but I love him.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so.
Let you go. I just wanted to say hey.
Well, thank you so much for calling. I think that's very sweet of you, and thank you for all you said. What?
You know what? We're having a community yard sale, and I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks going through the closets and all the boxes, so I know I'll come up with my camera and my microphone. And the minute I get that stuff set up, yeah, I'll come on your panel.
Okay. That sounds
I
fantastic.
will definitely come on.
That's
Hey, so I'll
fantastic.
catch you later.
All right. You have a good night, sweetheart, and thank you for calling.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot, Les.
Bye, hon.
Bye.
Thank you to Bam as well. Bye-bye.
She can hear you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
You guys were the best thing that happened to me today because I ran around today crazy in the head. And I really didn't know what to do. And I kept coming on the internet to see if you were on, and you had some little clip thing that was on. And I was just back and forth thinking, well, when is she coming on? When is she coming on? And then when you said you would be on 10 o'clock Eastern time, which made it 7 o'clock my time, I thought, good. 7 o'clock, I was right here sitting at this desk. Because it's where I needed to be.
Yes. Yes, this is where you needed to be.
And that I thank you guys for.
Well,
So, hey,
thank
we'll
you.
talk to you later.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, good night.
All
Good
right,
night,
bye-bye.
hon.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night. Awesome.
Awesome.
Les, can I just address?
You sure
Someone
can.
said the Skelton brothers. Now, is that the 3 boys that disappeared and there's absolutely no trace of them? 3 little blonde boys? Or am I getting the wrong story altogether here?
Let me get my little notebook.
Sorry, Les?
Let me get my little notebook.
I'll certainly take a look.
Who?
The Skelton brothers, I think.
Skelton Brothers. You know what? I heard something about them.
Yeah, I think they went to stay with their dad, didn't they? And they just disappeared, and there's never been any trace. I'll have a look at this. It was just when I asked the chat, was there anything that they could think of? Excuse me, that they'd like us to cover. That's one that come up, and I thought,
I'll be right back to the rest.
then people can join in. Some of them can be, like we did tonight. We just spring it and go with it. And some of these, maybe you guys could do a little bit of research yourselves, and then you can join in with us if you fancy. It's up to yourselves. What the hell is going on in this chat? Gay and liberal. What do you mean, gay and liberal? What's the problem? You guys should look into the Lee Roberts missing case. Trisha, can you give me a little bit of background on that? Is that an American or British or Australian, South African? Please. Leah Roberts, I've never heard of that. Les has gone to get her notebook, bless her. I make her write everything down in the notebook now. When I'm talking to her on the phone, I say, have you written that down? And she'll go, yeah, I'm writing it down now. She's going to need about 6 notebooks by the time this is all finished. Yeah, the father made them disappear. That's right. Yeah, I think the dad killed those kids. I think that's what's happened. But definitely, we'll research that. Maybe we'll cover that next week or the week after. You really don't want to go to the dentist tomorrow? Well, you're going to have to, or it's going to be more pain in the long run. So just go and get it over and done with. Oh, I see. This gay and liberal, that's a joke then, got you. I thought somebody was bothered about something in the chat. David Parker Ray. Okay, hang on, I'll put this down in my notes. David Parker Ray. Okay, hang on a minute. Okay, that's it, done. Okay, I'll look into that as well. Are these missing persons? Yeah, these are. The boys are missing persons. Hope might be able to join in that because, as I say, she's quite good at these. Hope she listens to a lot of these podcast stories as well. Something I can't really get into. Listen, she's always telling me to listen, but I will lose concentration if I can't see something. My mind will start to wander. I've got a very low attention span, but I'm familiar with the skeleton case. I know I need to buff up on it, but I'm quite sure that I've either watched something about that or read about it before. And David Parker Ray, I don't know anything about this, so this is a new one for me. Leah Roberts is an American case I'm watching, I believe. She just took off one day. Her car was found and she was completely gone. Oh, wait. Is this the one that's got the internet connection? This Leah Roberts? Is this the one where the guy uploaded a video to YouTube on the date of her disappearance where he was just laughing? What's he call himself? Creepy guy or Mr. Creep or something like that? I think that might be the same one. AK, Toy Box Killer Guy, American. Yeah, I know this one. Yeah, he did that along with his girlfriend, didn't he? They had that trailer turned into a torture chamber, didn't they? He's, if I'm correct, he has an astonishingly high IQ. And it was a prostitute that got away, wasn't it? They didn't want to believe her at first, and then they opened up the trailer and found all the torture devices. Definitely, yeah. I'm not sure about that one. Yeah, I know there's a case that's got some connections. It began on the dark web. This bloke, Mr. Creep or something he called himself, because the girl's dad was interviewed and he said, whatever creep has done this needs to come forward. Something like that. Well, then this channel appeared called Mr. Creep, and her name flashed up, and it's just this older weird guy sitting laughing into the camera. The police brought him in for questioning. They can't get anything on him, but I think that's the one with the internet connection. I'll take a look. Moira Murray, that's it. Yeah, sorry, disregard. It isn't Leah. It's Moira Murray. You're absolutely spot on. Yeah, that's it. That's actually another good one that we might want to cover on here, because that's quite very similar to the Leah one, because her car was found and whoever got her had bumped her car deliberately to get her to come out of the car, and then they snatched her. Very similar MOs with these guys might be connected. We'll have to have a look. There's another one I'd like to learn about, is that that one at the beach in New York. There's a beach in New York, and there's been about 13 skeletons found there. And I think the guy, well, we say the guy, but some guy called one of the victims' sister. And I think he used a public telephone, and by the time the police got there was no trace of him, and he wasn't caught on CCTV or anything. So I'd be quite interested to look into that one, because I think that's still an ongoing active serial killing investigation. But we'll definitely, yeah, oh, hang on. Another cool one would be the Golden State Killer. Yeah, I know. That guy's been arrested, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to do stories on the killers. I want to do it on the victims. You know, if we go Golden State Killer thing, we can make it, say, hey, he was a cop. He did this. These are his victims. And just remember the victims' names as long as when we do the story.
Absolutely.
Get their victims' names out.
Absolutely.
If there's, we'll have to ask Chris, if there's a way to, while I'm live streaming, of course, I'll probably have to do OBS. But there is a way after I do my live stream that, like, at the end, I can do, like a credit roll or something, or a caption roll, and put their names and everything.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
So we can do that.
The killer becomes famous. You know, if we talk about Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer, you know, only one victim's name comes to mind, Opal Mills, but I can't remember all of them. Jack the Ripper, I can remember the Ripper victims' names, but all too often the victims are forgotten, and it's the killer's name that we remember. You're very right there, Les. But yeah, there's 2 fascinating cases. Well, 3 actually that they've requested tonight. There's the Moira Murray.
The what?
Moira Murray.
Okay.
She was driving, and someone bumped into her car to make her get out. When she got out, they snatched her. And her father was interviewed, and he said, whatever creep has taken her needs to give her back. Well, the next thing, there was a channel uploaded onto YouTube, and it was Mr. Creep. And on the anniversary of her disappearance, this guy uploaded a video of him sat there going, ha, 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 laughing into the camera. So the police, took him in for questioning, but they can't get anything on him. Now, they've brought up a girl, Leah, someone, I've got it written down, and she's just disappeared without a trace. But it's very similar. She was driving in her car. The car was found, and there's no trace of the girl. So,
what's the last name?
I'm trying to find it now. Hang on, I have Leah Roberts. Leah, Leah Roberts.
Okay.
And then there's David Parker Ray. This is a serial killer. He's the toy box killer. He made a torture chamber out of a trailer. And I'm sure it was his girlfriend. Him and his girlfriend were, picking up hitchhikers and prostitutes and just sexually abusing and torturing them to death in this toy box.
Mm.
And then there's the Skelton brothers' disappearance.
Okay. Well, the next one we got to do is the Long Island Killer.
That's the one I've just been talking about. Yeah. Wait a minute. Now there's 2 here that we're getting. There is. Dang, that person's been missing for 11 years, and now the guy's name is Kyle Fleischman. Horsehair girl.
Kyle Fleischman.
Okay.
Who hasn't been brought up in years? We'll focus on the victim. There's a
Dorothy Scott.
Murder is still unsolved. The victim was Dorothy Scott. She was actually sort of stalked first, like by phone calls and roses being left for her.
Okay, I'll write that down. Is this in America as well? This is USA. Dorothy Scott stalking a murder. Has her body been found yet? Or has she disappeared? Right, I'll just leave that there because I don't know. Hang on, let me get back into the chat, see. Yes, it's in America. Tricia, is she still missing, or has there actually been a body recovered, or is this still a missing person / murder investigation. Okay, that's great. Thank you. There's a lot for me to go up there. I'll be busy this week. Thank you.
So will I.
Your Judder is going to be absolutely crammed full of things, isn't it, madam?
Yeah, because I only not got murder mystery. I got regular shit to talk about, and just like everyday stuff, not about what goes on here on the internet, but out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I have other fancies like, conspiracy night, alien, paranormal, and which we got to come up with a thing for that. And weird, strange, oddities, like the skinwalkers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like ancient Egypt. I love Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology. I love mythology. There's a lot of stuff. There is just not enough time in the day.
Absolutely, yeah.
There really is not. There really is not. I've said over and over, I need an assistant. I really do. I need an assistant now.
The reason why I get into the murder thing is because that's what I have a history in. And that's what I'm good at. So I think that's why I get so involved and invested. Maybe I slightly mislead the chat then by asking them, to throw out ideas. I don't mean to swamp you. I don't mean to do that.
No, because I have murder mystery night. Gay liberal, hello.
Yeah, actually, that these couple sound like ideal murder mysteries. I'm interested in this one, Dorothy Scott. This sounds quite interesting. So he was phoning her before he actually took her. That's most likely a serial killer.
Comfy enough to call.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a seasoned offender. It's somebody that's very confident about themselves.
So there's a lot of interest, during the week, and then the late night ones. I should have done a topic last night, but I didn't. So, but there's just so much and so little time, and wow. And then I got all these little teeny tiny mundane things I have to do every single day. It's only to improve my channel, but it'll be worth it in the end because I only have to do it once and then just do maintenance on it after that. It's just like everything else when you start something brand new or you build something brand new. It's just farty in the beginning, and then once you get it done and completed, it's just maintenance after that, And I'm doing it for this channel and my ASMR channel. So then I got to do ASMR readings, which I have nothing to release at noon today. Nothing. So I got to find something and then see if I can't get it recorded tonight. If not, it's going to be released late tomorrow.
Oh.
Huh?
Sorry, I'm reading out. Sorry. Right, wait a minute, because I asked that girl a question. Yes, she was from America. Yes, she was found 4 years after her disappearance. They still don't know who killed her. Because they don't know the killer, you can focus more on her. Absolutely, she was beautiful. A single more. Yeah, this is most likely a serial offender. And if he's so confident to be ringing her and telling her what he's going to do, there's possibility that this guy has a background in law or law enforcement, surprisingly enough. I could be way off here, but anybody that's planning on killing someone and rings them up, that's their intent. So they're basically trying to play a cat and mouse game with authorities as well.
Did you check out any of the... Where did you send the ideas? I didn't know you sent me anything. Hold on. I did not know.
David Parker is extremely creepy. Yeah. Yeah, he is. He even looks creepy, that guy.
So I don't know if I want to broadcast every day during the week, or if I just want to do like 3 days during the week, 4 days during the week. I don't know. And then I got to decide what I'm going to do on what days, because there's more interest and there's more things. Lilac is being sweet enough to get me some pictures for my conspiracy thing. Email, I can send it somewhere else. I'll have to check my email because I really don't check my email every day. So I need to check my email. I'll go look. I really will. You just have to remind me to check my email. I don't know.
Go on. Look, just go on when you can. And if I'm around and you want me to join in, I'll definitely join in.
No, 6 to 8.
Yeah.
That's perfect time for me, really.
And that's quite perfect for me as well.
So.
That's good timing for me. Though I'm wide awake now. I think I've gone past my sleep time. So I'll probably just stay awake today because the machine guys are coming. Goodness, to take that bloody thing away.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, let me just tell you this. Any of you that are buying a new appliance, don't buy a Hoover, washing machine, or dishwasher. Honestly, this thing that I've got was on sale. It was 500 quid. And the first week that I got it, it broke. So I rang them up and I said, listen, this is a faulty machine. And they come up with every excuse under the sun as to why it wasn't a faulty machine and it was just a one-off blip. And from that first week, it's progressively broken down to the point where I can do laundry once a fortnight now. Because I get an engineer out, he fixes it. I leave it for a couple of days, then I use it, it breaks down, then I've got to wait for the engineer to come. So it happened, I've had them out 7 times. This would be the 8th time. So it happened again on Saturday, and I started to cry. I rang the insurance company up, and I said to them, look, I don't want this machine anymore. It's defective, it's never worked, it's not fair. You know, and I was very, very upset. So they said, yeah, you know what, we're going to write it off. So they're coming to collect the defective machine today, and hopefully they'll give me a replacement on Tuesday. Because as I said, you know, I've got a bucket full of wet, dirty clothes that the machine broke halfway through the cycle in, and I'm tired of it. So just do not go near a Hoover washing machine. Even if they're giving them away, don't take it, because it honestly, it just needs a big key in the back of it. Absolutely shit. 500 quid. I'd have been better off going to a river with a stone and a bar of soap.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, Les. Honestly. With the amount of animals I have in here and my health and what, I don't need this.
Oh. PJ Gone. Hello. Yeah, our next one I think we should do is Long Island Killer.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know very much about this case, so.
Well, I'm going to investigate it. It's serious.
How many victims are there so far?
I don't know.
Really? Is there not even a
I don't
body?
know nothing about it either. And then that one that Bish with 2 B's was suggesting, one from some island there in New York. I forget what it's called, but I want to do that one too.
Okay.
But I think next week we should do the Long Island Killer.
Okay. Is there much information about it? Because
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know much about that. I've heard of it briefly, but I don't know anything about it. I don't even know the body count.
I have no idea.
We shall see.
Llama said, no, you do not. Sorry about that. No, who does not what? Everyone hit the like button for the beautiful Les. Yes. Y'all don't forget to hit that thumbs up, especially if you like tonight's program. I'm going to have to get ready to end this because I'm tired. I ain't going to lie. I'm not going to lie. And I've got a lot to do before before Monday, before I get up in the morning. And Bam, did I tell you I was going to start doing videos of me cleaning my house?
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
You'll see some filthy floors and shit. That's all there is to it. So, I want to thank everybody for coming to the lounge. I want to thank Bam for joining me in the booth. And I think, when we leave, I think I should be showing, and I want to thank everybody who has come in and talked on my chat or has just listened to my chat. I want to thank y'all for being here. Thank you so much for the support. I really, really, really do appreciate it. And if you're new watching and you like it, give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. And I really want to thank everyone. So I think what I can do is go ahead and play us out.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And thank you for the support that you've shown, Anita.
Yes. Thank you for coming in, everyone. I totally appreciate it. Bye. Bye, Bam.
Good night.
And I'll see everybody next time. Have a good night and a good day. Bye.